Um, and I'll just do it that way, so that way.
Mm-hmm.
But don't worry, don't worry. We're coming back. We're coming back.
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah, it crashed. So I'm just gonna stream it. Um, but if you can direct everyone, Chris, at least to let them know to come into the new one. I'm just gonna stream it on my end. Luckily, I got like the full interview version of it recorded, but I could do this.
It's
So I'll
weird
just
though.
stream.
Like, it's weird though. Like, it didn't seem fine, and it was still saying I was fine.
I
Hmm.
don't know. But we are back. If 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 you want to, Chris, I can actually here. Wait, actually, yeah, let's just put the new link in here so that way people know where to go. Um, see, that's why I came prepared. That's why it's on Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let me go put this. Here is the new link. Wait, actually, I could just do this. There's this. I'm just gonna do that. Okay. Hopefully people see that. Here, I'll send you the link to HMK so that way you can send them the new link
All right.
um on your socials. That's the new one that will be streaming. So
Mm-hmm. No
there,
problem.
there you go. That's why I have a backup plan.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but okay,
That was
yeah.
definitely weird.
It's okay, Chris. I got it. Okay, so here let's continue and just pretend it never happened.
Right. No problem.
All right, so here is my next question for you, HMK. Tell us how you got into the Kingdom Hearts series.
Oof. That is another one, another little question. Mm, so way back when, because I always grew up on Disney. I grew up as a Disney kid. I love watching movies growing up. Like Aladdin is probably my favorite movie from the Disney Renaissance and whatnot. And then I always played a lot of video games, and I knew what Final Fantasy was because I had family members that showed me the game, and I played the early ones, especially seven, right? And then my best friend rolls up and like, "Hey, this is awesome new game called Kingdom Hearts," and he had the first one because back in the day we were kids still, right? And I was like within the friend group, I was the Nintendo guy because I had the N64 and the GameCube, and he was the PlayStation. He had the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2, and he had um Kingdom Hearts 1. And then when he was telling me about Kingdom Hearts 1, I'm like, so like what's Kingdom Hearts? And he's like, oh, it's awesome. It's like it's Disney, legit Disney. It's not like Disney. No, it is Disney mixed with Final Fantasy. And my first response to that is like, that sounds stupid. Like, and
Hmm.
he's like, no, man, it's peak. It's amazing. You gotta come try it. Right. So I go over his house and I try it, and it was peak. It was amazing. Like my life was like forever changed and whatnot. And then that's how I first got exposed and got into the series. And I like after that, like it was a wrap. The story was over, and I just kept in line with the games, even though at that point I still didn't have a PS2. But I will always play the games to completion over at his house. And then funny story that like I keep bringing this up, the way that the I feel like the beautiful way that story ended, well, not really ended, but like reached a climax point, is that he's the one who got me into Kingdom Hearts, right? And
Hmm.
then years later, Square Enix invites me to go be a part of the Kingdom Hearts 3 premiere. And they said I could bring one person. So I brought him, right? And like it was just like that it just came full circle. The guy, like, my best friend, the guy who got me into Kingdom Hearts, I was able to bring him to the Kingdom Hearts 3 premiere, and we were among the first to ever play Kingdom Hearts 3. So like that's how I got into the series.
Oh wow. It's
Mhm.
basically like at first you're like, no, when you first hear the concept, you're kind of like, that's dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, it was such a wild concept. It was like, all right, two things I would never, ever, ever think to like, cross over, and then like, oh wow, that's okay. It works. It's amazing. Awesome.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like it. because they mix Final Fantasy and Disney, two completely different like, genres altogether. Because Final Fantasy is more the RPG and then Disney is more like kid-friendly stuff, and you're like, how does this work?
Right?
Like you question it, but then it's like, oh my gosh, this is actually clever and amazing. You're like, oh my gosh, So
Yeah.
you kind of like, how did this work? But it just works so well because I think the story, from what I've heard, is that someone I think who was working on Final Fantasy ran into someone who works at Disney, and I think they were like in an elevator, I
Yep.
think, from what I've heard. And then they just like they kind of like brought it to the table to both companies, and then it snowballed from there. So I'm like, oh my gosh, that's crazy.
hmm So like what the what do you call it? The concept, the story behind the concept was that they were like the heads at over at Square were at the times Hiranobu Sakaguchi was still there, and then Shinji Hashimoto was there, and they were talking about like, we want to make a game because they really liked Super Mario 64, and they really wanted to make a game that competed specifically with Super Mario 64, right? And then they kept it kept coming to the ideas like, all right, who on the planet in terms of recognizability or recognition could compete with Super Mario? And then the one character they kept coming back to was Mickey Mouse. And they're like, there's
Mhm.
no way we're gonna get Mickey Mouse. There's no way this thing is gonna get off the ground. Like, we're never gonna be able to make a game with Mickey Mouse because it's Disney. It's Mickey Mouse is huge, right? But that's the only person that we can think that can compete with Mario in terms of recognition. So then
Mhm.
in Japan, Disney Japan actually shared the building with Square at the time. So then it was a chance meeting where Shinji Hashimoto was able to step into an elevator with a Disney executive, right?
Mhm.
And then that's where he was able to pitch the idea directly to this executive. And then, thankfully, the executive in the elevator liked it. So then they're like, okay, let's take this to the table and see if we can get off the ground. And they did. And then the funny part about that story later on is that if I remember correctly, Disney wanted Donald. I forgot which company wanted who, but Disney wanted Donald Duck to be the main character, and then Square wanted Mickey Mouse to be the main character. But they couldn't
Mhm.
find a middle ground, and then they eventually brought in Tetsuya Nomura to design an original character, and then that character came out to be Sora, right? So that was like
Mhm.
the in between point they were able to achieve, and that is so funny because the way Nomura got involved with this is that Sakaguchi and Hashimoto were talking like, who can we get to like direct this, right? Because Hashimoto, you're a producer, and I'm busy directing Final Fantasy, right? And then literally as that conversation was happening, Nomura was like literally walking by because at that point he was just a designer. He first was a debugger and then a designer, and he heard the whole conversation say, "Hey, I'll do it," right? And then they're like, "Okay, cool." And then that's how it came to be. You know,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, it's like
Mm-hmm.
a crazy world, right? And I think it's also a very full circle for me to ask you this, HMK. Like, what was all the emotions that you went through when you found out Sora was the final DLC character for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate?
Oh my god, that was just there were so many feelings. I like 90% of them positive. And then the reason why I say 90% because like the 10% is like not completely positive, but it was more like vindication. And I felt like I deserved it because not that I deserved Sora being in Smash, but I deserved the idea of being like, see, I told y'all it was possible. Because there's
Mhm.
like over the years, because I was like Sora for Smash. I will claim this title. Like, you gotta stay humble in this content creation game, but I will claim this title in stating that I was sore for Smash's like strongest champion. I was like, I never like lost hope. But people like to bring up the Sephiroth thing, but like that's not me losing hope. That's just saying like, oh, if it doesn't happen, I got Sephiroth, right?
Mhm.
But um, I've been like championing and clamoring for the idea of Sora to come to Super Smash Bros. And then I had that interview with Justin Scarpone, where he literally was able to tell me that it's possible, but like this and that has to like come to fruition in order for it to get off the ground. And a lot of people kept on telling me over the years, every time I made a video about tackling certain aspects of, the concept of Sora and Smash, they kept telling me it's like, oh, it'll never happen. Disney's too greedy. What do you want Disney to own Nintendo? And all these like really weird, like, conversational points that didn't correlate at all. And then when Sora finally happened, like I legit cried, right? It was such a beautiful way, like it was such an amazingly beautiful way to put him in Smash, right? Because like it
Mhm.
was like one of those things that happened at the last second, which that's like my favorite thing about Smash trailers, most Smash trailers I should say, where like the character gets revealed almost at the last second, where you're on your toes, you keep guessing like, all right, who could it be? Who could it be? Oh, all this cool stuff happening on screen. Who could it be? And then it turned out to be Sora. And then the way that Sakurai and Nomura described like the type of lore implications, not the fact that not the idea that Sora's appearance in Smash is canon to Kingdom Hearts, but the way they built the trailer was like considering Kingdom Hearts lore. And I thought that was
Mhm.
such a beautiful like way to bring in this final character. And the fact that he was the most requested character in Smash, that he was the last character in Smash, that his slot was made specifically for him is
Mhm.
just like it was all matters of, it was just sheer jubilation. Like I was so happy, right? And then
Mhm.
it's funny because there are still like salty people on the internet that are trying to like take that away from me or any other people that or any other person that was like really into the idea of Sora being in Smash, where they're like, "Oh, you probably don't play him anymore." And like, I play Smash every day, and like my main is Link, right? I don't think
Mhm.
I've touched Link in a year, right? Of like constant Smash. I boot up Smash every day and I play a couple matches on Elite Smash with Sora specifically. I still play him to this day. Like he has become my secondary main. I'll still always say Link is my number one main, but Sora is like absolutely the secondary main. So like when people try to say, "Oh, you were doing all this and you probably don't even play the game," I'm like, out of here. No, I'm good. But like it was legit a dream come true. It was a dream come true.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, especially like, it, like when you think about it, pretty much the KH fans won once
Oh yeah.
Sora was like revealed. Like I think there was like these three guys and the middle guy, I remember what his reaction was like. He was going hysterical. It's like, it's
Oh,
Sora, it's
yep.
Sora. And then they just start screaming like so much. And I'm like, oh, it's like the joy of what Smash Bros. Ultimate brought to the table. Because I think what's interesting, it's like you said, HMK, they really put a lot of care into like Sora's trailer, you know. And I don't remember who it was. I think it was probably you, but I don't remember if it was you or if it was some other content creator. And they said that um Sora was like the perfect character to end on because if you hear the theme song of Smash Brothers Ultimate, it literally spells out Kingdom
It goes
Hearts.
into right. Oh, absolutely. Like the World of Light theme. Like I've been saying that for years, right? It's like it's very Kingdom Hearts coded, right?
Mhm.
And I always kept saying that like if Sora were to come on Smash, he would probably be the last character. And then Sora is truly the perfect example of Smash Bros. Right? It's so weird how there's people that are trying to sandbag the idea like Sora wouldn't finish Smash. I'm like, are you serious? Like Smash Bros is the ultimate crossover. It's like the right amount of goofy, and we've got so many like different characters of different walks of life and different directorial or genre like defining genres. And and then people will be like, "Oh, you really want a Disney princess in Smash?" I'm like, yeah, because we have princesses in Smash already. So I mean, like, it's so weird how people like really try to like take away the idea when like Sora is, and I can argue about this for hours, if not days on it, where Sora is the perfect Smash character, in my
Yeah.
opinion, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I feel like, um like if you really analyze Source trailer, um when you see that flame, it's like, oh my gosh, they are really leaning into that theme song like so much. Like I've seen people talk about it. Like it's like, does anyone else notice that like Source trailer really just reflects the theme song of Smash Bros. Ultimate? And I'm like, and then I looked up the lyrics just to see. what this person's talking about. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. It is. It's like it's such a great it's such a great way to end off Smash Brothers. I think it's also cool. Like I don't know if you saw this meme HMK where do you know that SpongeBob meme with like SpongeBob and Patrick, and it has like we hate you, and then like Sephiroth is like Squidward. Someone made the
Yeah.
meme, and then he's like, "We hate you," and then it's like, and then he starts chasing them with the car, and I was like, I think it's just a beautiful way to end it too. And when you think about it, people seem to forget, like unless if you're a KH fan and you're into the lore of Kingdom Hearts, that when you think about it, Sora has a way to connect with other characters.
Oh yeah.
He just has this beautiful ability to do that. Like even like the real Ansem the Wise mentioned this in Dream Drop Distance. He's like Sora just has this gift of like connecting with others. And I think, like even though Sora doesn't even know these other characters in Smash Brothers, right? Probably except Cloud maybe and Sephiroth,
Mhm.
quote unquote.
Right.
But like Sora just has this ability to, and I kind of felt like this is just me. I think I felt like it was intentional that Kingdom Hearts 3 like came out, before it was like actually finally revealed. Because obviously for those who played KH3, we kind of learn more about, oh my gosh, there's like unreality. And it's like, wait,
Mhm.
are they trying to connect this to Smash Brothers Ultimate? Like, I because apparently I think Tetsuya Nomura mentioned that he's like he he wanted to make sure it makes sense for Sora to be there,
Right.
in terms of story lore. Some people find that dumb, but I'm like, no, I think it's brilliant because like other DLC characters, you don't really think about it. It's like they
They
don't,
just show up,
yeah,
so
yeah, they just show up. And and when you think about it, Sephiroth kind of fits into like not getting invited. And he's like, no, I just invited myself and I'm just gonna bring despair.
ugh.
And I think, I think, it was brilliant that they decided, yeah, let's release Kingdom Hearts 3 first, because obviously it's very vital, to understanding this unreality. And I'm like thinking, are they going meta on this? Because like when they call it unreality, I'm just like, okay, this is getting into some trippy stuff now. And
Right.
and when you think about it, if you know the story of Super Smash Brothers, they're actually just like amiibos. They're not the actual characters.
Right. They're just being played around with. Exactly.
Yeah, by a
It's just
kid,
a kid
right?
playing around with toys, and that's what
Yeah.
the Master Hand and the Crazy Hand are.
So I think it's like a good metaphorical thing that Tetsuya Nomura was doing, because when you think about it, with Verum Rex, the video game that was teased in the Toy Box world in KH3,
Yeah.
it's like, wait a minute. I'm like, I see where Tetsuya Nomura is going with this. So it makes perfect sense. So I think it's like a poetic sense, if you really like think about how brilliant it is to incorporate Sora that way. And I'm like, this is so brilliant. It's like it's brilliant, and and then now I just like to say, oh my gosh, does that mean Sonic's world is like actually there? In Kingdom Hearts, it's canon.
It's
You
just
know?
like it's all like degrees of separation. It's just I have at some point they have crossed over, but then I
Mhm.
feel like maybe it's on the cards for the people higher up, like when it comes to like the people who control Sega or Square Enix or Nintendo or whatnot. But will they actually outwardly like say it and connect it? Like more than likely not. But it's always a fun thing to think about.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Okay, here is my next question for you, HMK. What do you enjoy most about making video content?
Specifically, like I really there's so many like not avenues, but there's so many steps to putting together a video. Right? A lot of people really think it's just like, okay, you turn on the camera and you record and then you just upload to YouTube and just go. No, there's like a lot of intricate aspects in terms of like content creation. Yeah, of course, you got for those that make more, I would say, uh, mm, I'm looking for the right term, but more thought out videos. Like there has to be a script, there has to be brainstorming for that script. You got to get the script, condense it, see how fast or how slow you want to present said script in terms of like recording your voice. If you want to make this video last, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, that's all things you have to consider. And then, after that, here comes the editing, right? So like I really, really like editing in terms of like, bringing to life my vision for like what I want to put out for a specific video, because a lot of times when I'm like in the script writing process I always visualize it and then try to match up what I visualize as I'm writing the script out when I get to the editing phase. And then once I get there, a lot of times like, okay, this footage isn't good enough, or it's not the right bit rate, or it doesn't fit within the slot of amount of time of where I'm trying to make a point or whatnot. So like it's a really rewarding process when you stay on your toes and whatnot in terms of putting together a video. But then at the same time, once the video is out, like it's really cool to like, okay, I like, I would put certain things in a video and see if people will catch them. And then like I would read the comments, it's like, oh, that's really cool how you incorporate this, that into this segment of the video. And I'm like, oh, I'm glad that, got acknowledged. So it's like, it's a combination of like small things that like I really like seeing people like acknowledge the small things that I put in my videos, or the fact that editing is a constant malleable process that I still learn from to this day. Because if you refuse to learn from the process that you do in content creation, then you're never gonna figure out how to adapt, and you're never gonna be able to bring your content to the next level. So like I would say like, the most rewarding part would have to be the editing stage and seeing that what I was able to visualize in my head was able to come to a fruition to a certain degree, if not a 100% degree. So that's where that's my most rewarding part of editing, of content creation, this editing part.
Wow, yeah, like that's really cool. Like how long does it take for you to like, when you initially write your script, for your video, and then you kind of like have to go back to like I want to know, like, do you just get like the main points in order to condense it so it doesn't end up being too long?
So like it's different. It's always case by case, but then I always like think of like a main core aspect of what my video is supposed to be, and then when I get to writing, sometimes I get carried away with like certain points and stuff, and then after the script is done, I proofread it. I'm like, okay, this can be condensed, this can be cut out, this doesn't make sense. Oh, if someone hears this, they're gonna get confused and probably click off the video. So like that's a whole process in itself, and it once again, it really depends on like what I'm supposed to convey in a specific video, because all my videos are different. I do like top tens, I do theories and whatnot. And when it comes to like a top 10 video, I try to get the point across as quickly as possible in order to help retain that focus and audience retention when they look at a point where I'm like, okay, here's number 10. I am talking about Roxas's keyblades. And I don't want to like, go too much into detail, because people know that, oh, you have 9 more of these things to go through. And I don't want to like, waste too much time. So that's like one way of looking at that specific video. But if I'm doing a theory, then I try to be articulate as possible, because a lot of people do this kind of strategy, and it's a strategy that I personally don't vibe with, because then assumptions happen, and assumptions create dissension, and dissension creates arguments, and then a lot of times the arguments like stem from either how people view me or a point I was trying to make. So when it comes to a theory, I try to be as articulate as possible. A lot of people, they try to leave out specific pieces of information when theory crafting, specifically for the idea of people going into the comment section and leaving a comment say, oh, you're actually wrong about that, or no, you left out this part. They do that on purpose in order to drive
Mm.
engagement, which is like a strategy. I'm like, okay,
Mm.
I get why you do it, because it promotes engagement. Engagement promotes YouTube pushing your videos and whatnot. But I personally don't like doing that, because then people will take the social media. It's like, oh, can you believe this guy? He claims he's a fan of this, but then left this part out and blah, blah, blah. And then that's a headache I really don't like dealing with. So it really depends in the script writing phase of like what type of video it's going to be. Like, so I try to put a time limit on top 10 videos or specific discussion pieces. But when it comes to theories, it's like, yeah, listen, if I keep thinking it and if I keep writing it, this thing is going to go on as long as it possibly can, right? So that's like the big difference to that. So like I couldn't really give you like a good like set amount of time, right? And especially when it comes to something that like, oh, if I have the whole idea in my head, I can write this thing out in like, under an hour, right? But if it's like if it's a concept in which the idea blossoms as I'm writing, then that could take up the whole day. So like it's really a coin flip.
Very interesting. Ooh, okay. Looks like I see a question in the chat by Shadow_Wolf475. What was the first video game you ever played?
Oh, that's an easy one. The first video game I ever played was Duck Hunt for the NES. And
Ooh.
with the Zapper, I thought the Zapper was the coolest thing ever. And it's funny because as a kid, I was always a really, really inquisitive kid. Right now, like I'm not gonna reveal my age, but like it's not like I was there when Duck Hunt came out. I was like, no, that was my first video game. Duck Hunt was already out for a number of years, right? But it was so funny because as a kid, I'm like always really, really inquisitive, right? Because I'm like, I kind of got the idea of how games like Time Crisis would work at an arcade. Like you have a whole arcade cabinet dedicated to that. So then like, oh, the way it tracks the gun in order to shoot things down, I'm like, okay, I get that. But then like when I played Duck Hunt on the NES with the Zapper on the TV, I'm like, I'm playing the game, but at the same time, I'm halfway also like, how does this work? How does it know where I'm aiming? Like, how does like there's nothing under the screen. There's nothing. It's just the controller and the system, right? And then actually, I didn't own the Zapper that I was using for when I was first playing Duck Hunt as a kid, and I actually took it apart, and it was my cousin's. And then my mom and dad got really mad at me, and they're like, "Why?" It's like, because I want to know how it works, right? So then they're like, "Where'd you get the screwdriver from?" I'm like, "The kitchen, like it was right there." So yeah, that was So that was my first game. Yeah.
Oh, very interesting. That's just so funny that your parents got mad at you. They're like, "Why are you taking this?" When
Yeah.
you
Well,
taking
I
it
feel like
apart?
it was mostly because it didn't belong to us, right? It was like it was my
Mhm.
cousin, so like and then I don't even know because I didn't put it back together, so I don't know if they ever did put it back together. So that's fun.
Oh, okay. I see another question in the chat. Okay. By NitroBlogs3539, HMK, why is Tara your favorite character in all of fiction?
They're trolling. I know who Natural Blogs is. No, no, I genuinely despise Terra for like from Kingdom Hearts. Like he's like that worst character. No, okay, I'm not gonna say. You know what? I'm gonna say. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna say I don't like Terra. I hate Terra. He's important to the Kingdom Hearts series, and he's actually quite fun to play. And he's one of the strongest Kingdom Hearts characters in the lore. I'm not gonna take anything away from Terra, but I hate this character. And I feel like I get a lot of smoke because they're like, oh, because there's people like, oh, Terra's my favorite. Oh, I love Terra. I'm like, that's cool. That's valid. That doesn't make you less of a person. I'm not coming at you. I'm not saying that like, oh, you're not a real fan before you love Terra. If you love Terra, that's your prerogative. But
Mhm.
mine is that I hate this character. Right. And I feel like this character is written. This is my personal opinion. This character is written in order to be insufferable. You're supposed to root against this character. You're supposed to be like, what are you doing? What is going on? Why are you doing this? Like there is like I feel like in Birth by Sleep, Aqua, Terra, and Ventus were all written in a certain way in order to have all of their faults on
Mhm.
blast. But then Terra's is more than like obviously more on blast than the others because I mean, like
Mhm.
he becomes Terra Xehanort. It's because of his own
Mhm.
faults that like we have to deal with all this, nonsense in Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
Which a lot
Mhm.
of people say if it wasn't for him, Kingdom Hearts would exist, which is true, right? But that doesn't negate the idea that I can dislike this character because of that. It's like,
Yeah.
dang, we didn't have to go through all this, nonsense because of,
Mhm.
your antics. Oh, you're not a Keyblade master? That's crazy, man. So,
Yeah,
uh,
like his choices were definitely very, very questionable.
oh yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but you gotta admit he like the armor, like the lingering will fight. Oh my gosh, in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Oh, it was amazing. Yeah. Oh, I,
Yeah,
I love that fight. That fight was
yeah.
was good. It's like it's a very big testament of how well designed secret bosses can be. I feel like Square Enix, specifically the Kingdom Hearts team, are like masters at that when it comes
Mhm.
to the numbered games, right?
Yeah, the
So
number
the
game.
Unknown, Lingering Will, and Yozora, they're all amazing examples of well crafted, extremely hard secret bosses that I feel is only comparable to that of like Soulsborne bosses, right?
Mhm.
Again, now I can't say that's all. They're all good because I mean we now like we have the mysterious wait okay no it's the mysterious figure in Kingdom Hearts 1. It's the Unknown. Young Xehanort is called the Unknown in Birth by Sleep. That
Mhm.
fight is poorly designed. Don't even get me started on Julius from Dream Drop Distance. So there's some poorly designed secret bosses, absolutely. But Yozora, Lingering Will, and the Unknown is a
Mhm.
mysterious. I keep getting those two confused. So it's the mysterious figure in Kingdom Hearts 1 and the Unknown in um Dream Drop Distance. But anyway,
Mhm.
Zemnis in Kingdom Hearts 1, Lingering Will in Kingdom Hearts 2, and Yozora in Kingdom Hearts 2 are all amazing, well-crafted bosses that or like, they're great. They're fun, and I will fight against them any day of the week again, over again.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's also a testament that the KH development team was also very smart because Kingdom Hearts 2 came out before Birth by Sleep, and they
Mm-hmm.
decided, oh yeah, that secret boss, the Lingering Will that you fight in that portal thing at Disney Castle, like literally, and I was like, who is this? And then you learn about who it is, in Birth by Sleep.
Right.
So I think they do a good job of like, you just see the words on the screen. I'm like, who is this character?
Yeah. It's
Either,
that's like one of my favorite things of like Kingdom Hearts storytelling. Is just like, okay, this boss is like very mysterious, but it's going to be a very big deal later.
Mhm.
So I really that's one of my favorite things about Kingdom Hearts, honestly.
Yeah. And like at first, like when I saw my brother face it, because obviously we get the final mix like in the remixes, right?
Hmm.
When they release the remixes and they finally the West US actually gets like the final mix because I'm
Yeah,
like,
legitimately, yeah.
yeah, legitimately. Like it was just like, and I saw my brother like fighting the lingering will, and I'm like, wait a minute. I was like, isn't this dude in Birth by Sleep? Like, because obviously, when I saw and then it was so intriguing because it's like, whoa, how does Terra's will go into his armor? And it's like that fight was like so interesting in Birth by Sleep because like literally like Xehanort like forces Terra's heart out of his own body, and then he's like, "Wait a minute, how did this armor come to life?" And it's just such interesting storytelling, and obviously now that we know it's Terra, I think that dialogue like the lingering will's like, you're not the one that I chose. And I'm like,
Hmm.
what did he mean? And then it's like, oh, because
Oh
he
yeah.
chose Riku. It's like that makes
Hmm.
sense now. And I think the very surprising thing is finding out that the what do you call it? The guardian that we fought in Kingdom Hearts was actually Terra. And I'm just
Terra,
like,
like
that
it's,
shocked
it's like
me.
derivative of Terra. Yep.
Like
And it's funny
that.
because that's actually one of the most popular theories that's been like in the ether for years, right? And to see that
Mhm.
actually turned out to be true in Kingdom Hearts 3, I was like, dang, so that Terra, that the Terra lingering wood, the Terra, what do you go, Guardian theory was actually true. Uh, I know whoever came up with that theory first was like, oh yeah, jubilations. I see, I told y'all.
Like that was like very shocking. Like the fact that a theory came true. Because
Hmm.
I heard about it too, and I'm like, and people pointed out, oh yeah, if you I think it's like in Riku's story in Dream Drop Distance that you see the Guardian reaching out to Riku.
Yep.
And it's
When
like,
he holds up the Keyblade, yeah.
and then I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, did Riku catch on to this? That's what I'm wondering. I'm like, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think Riku caught on to something when the Guardian tried to reach out to him?
I think that it was after the fact. Like, if Riku did catch on to the idea that Terra could have been in there, it would not, because I mean, like, he did state right before the fight happened, he's like, you remind me of someone, a promise I made when I was really little, when he was talking to Ansem, which was always confusing because Ansem, the Seeker of Darkness, isn't using like Terra's visage. Right, that's
Mhm.
like it's been on record. Nomura stated that Ansem, the Seeker of Darkness, is what Zeno looks like at his prime in his 30s. Right, so then,
Mhm.
like, him saying that wouldn't make sense completely off the idea of like how he looked, right? Like, it's more on the idea. It's like, oh, did Riku sense something? So I feel like it is completely possible and whatnot, but I feel like he probably 100% confirmed it if he did after he defeated Ansem, and then like he did the Keyblade thing, and then not Lingua, but the Guardian like put his hand down and whatnot, because Terra's body is used by Zemnis. So like, oh, that's
Mhm.
what Zemnis is what Terra would look like in his 30s. So,
Yeah.
I feel like there's probably a lot going on there. Absolutely.
Yeah, like I find it funny that when you do that fight, with Terranort and Vanitas, in Cage 3 when you're fighting it,
Mhm.
and then when you get to the scene with like Terranort, and it's like, how? Like Terranort's like wondering, like, and the fact that Sora's not even questioning this, he's not even
It's like, no,
questioning
I've seen some stuff before. Like, this ain't new. Like,
because
he knew exactly what to do afterwards. Like, Terra, no.
I guess maybe because like as soon as Terra spoke, he's like, "Oh, that's Terra. Okay, I don't have
Yeah.
to attack him or anything." Because
Hmm.
it's wild because like in the first Kingdom Hearts game, when you face the fake Ansem,
Yeah.
Ansem Seeker of Darkness, like it's you kind of like, wait, he faced like the Guardian was with Ansem Seeker of Darkness. So he was basically fighting Terra like this entire
Just
time.
a bit. Just a bit. Yeah.
And it's just wild, but like I said, like Sora's probably like, okay, I guess Sora just needed confirmation, and he's like, okay, that's Terra, gotcha.
Mhm.
He's like,
Right.
I'll just like summon a beam of light, and then like Terra takes his heart out of the Guardian and goes back into his own body and so.
It's a team effort. Team effort.
So I think it was just I'm just glad they confirmed the theory. I was like, I never thought they'd be confirming something like that. Of
Right.
all things, it's just very shocking. Ooh, okay. I see another question in the chat. By Zelda, 2997 STE, which game franchise, in your opinion, feels underappreciated by the fans? And what is your favorite game franchise that feels like it has gone under the radar? Oh.
Franchise that's underappreciated by the fans. It's definitely not Kingdom Hearts and Zelda, because Zelda fans and Kingdom Hearts fans, they love their franchise. So like, it's definitely not that. So, underappreciated video game franchise. I have to think about that for a little bit, but then I think I can answer the other one, where it's like, oh, a video game franchise that I really, really like, that I felt like deserves a bit more recognition, is definitely, it's like, look, so the past self in me would be like, oh, Snowboard Kids. Like, I
Mm.
loved the game Snowboard Kids. It's like they had two games on the N64, and they also had a game on PlayStation. And then they had that really weird, like, pseudo sequel on the DS, and when they tried to revive it, and that did not fly. But I love Snowboard Kids, and I felt like that series could have been like something like special. They could have made an anime about it, could have made more games about it. Nintendo needs to put those on NSO, please. But then currently, I would say that a game series that's underappreciated or like under the radar in terms of like, it has a set amount of recognition, but it could always use more, is
Hmm.
No More Heroes by Suda 51. and I love those games. Those games, we got 2 games that came out on the Wii. Then we got Travis Strikes Back, No More Heroes that released on the Switch, as well as No More Heroes 3 that released on the Switch as well. And then those games got ported around, but those games were always like the like their main home was Nintendo because that's where it started. And those games I felt like could definitely use a lot more love in terms of, promotion games. I mean, like you can play all the games on the Switch 2 right now, but I would love a No More Heroes 4. I would love things like a manga, like an anime, other aspects, right? And I feel like that's a series that should have blown up a bit more than it did. Uh, but that's just me. But then to answer the other part of the question, when it comes to a series that's underappreciated by the fans, that's really hard because I mean, you have these video game series that are series because they're able to like, spawn multiple games at least. But then, you know what? I'm gonna just take a shot in the dark and say that considering where the series is at now, I'll say Soul Calibur. I feel Soul Calibur was not appreciated enough by the fans or by the industry in general because Soul Calibur 1 came out and it was like it changed the game in terms of fighting games. It got like 10 out of 10s across the board. I'm pretty sure Soul Calibur was the first ever Famitsu game. Is it? No, that can't be right. But Soul Calibur was like, I forgot what publication it was, but it was like their first ever 10 out of 10 game or their first ever like perfect score game. And it's like that game was amazing. Then Soul Calibur 2 came out and it was on multiple consoles, had multiple guest characters. That's this game that really like solidified the idea of bringing wild guest characters to your franchise and having it come to great results. Now, like everyone's doing it and stuff. Like we got, Tekken crossing over multiple franchises. We have, people can argue Marvel's Capcom existed before Soul Calibur. I'm like, yeah, but I mean, like the whole game was built on that when it came to like X-Men versus Street Fighter and, that. But then you have this series that has like one huge character that shows up. It's like, oh, wow, you're in Soul Calibur. Like, Link in the GameCube version. We have Yoda in the Xbox version of Soul Calibur 4, Darth Vader in the Soul Calibur in the PS3 version of Soul Calibur 4. We have Ezio in Soul Calibur 5. We have Geralt, who was like the first main crossover character in Soul Calibur 6. And now I'm out here still waiting for a Soul Calibur 7. So yeah, I guess that would be like, my answer to that.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like I haven't heard anything about Soul Calibur in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's quite intriguing that you mentioned Soul Calibur. And I did enjoy their like guest characters,
Oh yeah.
that they had. Like it's like, whoa, I did not expect this.
Mm-hmm.
For because I think wasn't it I think I might be mistaken. Was Link one of those guest characters in Soul Calibur, or was it a different fighting
No,
game
it,
there?
it was Link. Link was in Soul Calibur 2 on the GameCube version. Xbox
Okay.
had Spawn, and then PlayStation 2 had Heihachi from Tekken.
Okay, gotcha. Oh no. I, this is an interesting question.
Oh goodness.
It's from Dark Suji. They're like saying, why is Roxas better than Sora? Oh no, that's opening a can of worms.
Oh, it ain't for me. Roxas is better than Sora. Like that. This is Roxas is the best Kingdom Hearts character. There's so many reasons why, in my opinion, he's better than Sora. He has more emotional range than Sora. He actually has a traditional training with the Keyblade that Sora had to like just learn on his own. Which I mean, like learning
Yeah,
stuff on your own is like it's respectful. It's a big deal. But like Roxas actually had traditional training by the organization and
yeah,
was able to like lock in and know abilities that Sora can only find out by absorbing Roxas. So
yeah,
like there's no way Sora will able to do the stuff that Roxas is able to do because he never learned how to do it. The only reason why he can do it is because Roxas is within him now, right?
yeah.
Some of Sora's most impressive forms and abilities, like to go off that point, are derived completely from Roxas. Final form, that's
Mhm,
derived from Roxas.
mhm,
Double form, that's derived from Roxas, right?
mhm,
Roxas was the first known true dual wielding Keyblade wielder of Oblivion
Yes.
and Oathkeeper. That is the coolest thing on the planet, right? His design is cool. The fact that he's voiced by Jesse McCartney, he has like the perfect, like combination and split fiction of light and darkness, being someone who hinges on the idea of twilight and whatnot. And then the poetry in motion when it comes to this character of Roxas is that despite being a nobody, he has the biggest emotional range out of all Kingdom Hearts characters. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, but nobody's are not supposed to feel anything. But like, look at here, we have Roxas and being that, and then the combination of like tragedy and the fact that he is so coveted by all factions within Kingdom Hearts. Guardians of Light want him. The Secrets of Darkness want him, right? But
Yeah.
he just wants to chill and eat ice cream with his friends. He's like the one Keyblade wielder that doesn't want to be a Keyblade wielder, which is hilarious because he's one of the strongest ones known to the series.
Yeah.
Right? He's just so cool. Like Roxas is the best. Like,
Yeah.
sorry, not sorry.
No, oh no, you're all good. Like, like, because when you play Kingdom Hearts 2, you can really like see, like, I kind of feel like Roxas is kind of like Zack Fair. At that one point
I get it. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
like I
I
think
think it'll be closer to Cloud because Zack Fair is like the original, you know what I mean? And then like Zack is the original and then Cloud is the derivative.
Yeah.
So maybe a little bit, yeah.
I think the reason I say that is that that one scene where like Rox is like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
Like he doesn't
Zack's
understand.
Like,
And Zach is like that too. So I mean, like they're both like realistic. Like if I was in Roxas's shoes, like finding out, wait, this town isn't the real one. It's a digitized version of the real one.
yep.
So I think it was just uh, like I felt so bad when like when you're playing Kingdom Hearts 2 and then it's like looks like my summer vacation's over. I'm like, no, why are you doing this to me, game? like you can really feel the emotional aspect of Roxas. He lost a lot,
Oh
because
yeah.
especially with 358 over 2 days. Like he was best friends with Axel, and then also they add in Shion, and then what makes it even more heartbreaking is that like Shion had to like force him to fight her. And it's like,
Yeah, that's
no, it's like, no, it's like that makes it even worse because they developed this connection over throughout the entire game. And it's like, no, girl, what are you doing? It's like, no, don't do this to us. Like, don't force Roxas to do this to you.
yeah, but
And
it had to be done apparently.
yeah, because apparently, if I remember, Shion had like some of Sora's memories, and then Namine's like, we need those memories because
Yep.
obviously Namine was halted. She couldn't fully restore him, restore all his memories because she's like, oh, you have some of Sora's memories. It's like you need to give them back, and that's a tough decision because Shion, loved hanging out with Axel and Roxas, and then she has to make the difficult choice like, do I sacrifice my existence so that way this other person I don't even know, gets their memories back, or should I just continue, as I am, and I kind of like how they showcase that, and I kind of like 358 over 2 days kind of connects to Chain of Memories, and then Axel's like, oh yeah, I gotta go to Castle Oblivion. I'm like, ah, yes.
Yes.
They're showing
Oh,
this.
we know what's gonna happen now.
Yeah, so I kind of like how it kind of happens in the span of like King KH1 a bit, obviously when Sora becomes a Heartless and then Roxas is made, and it's from his time, and then he's with the organization. Then in I guess in the like, middle of it, Axel gets sent to Castle Oblivion. It's like, oh yeah, Chain of Memories. Yeah, that game happens too.
Yeah.
Um, and I think what they did with Roxas, they really show him like a great arc, because like in Kingdom Hearts 3, I love his entrance. Like, his entrance when he comes back is like, hands off my friends. He's like,
Yeah, that
no.
was that was that was the moment in Kingdom Hearts 3. I was just like on the edge of my seat. I'm like, yes, yes, yes. Man, he had Zemnis shaking. He's like,
Yeah,
Zemnis like, this is impossible. Like,
yeah.
uh,
I also kind of like how the Remind DLC kind of explains it, because like in the base game, you're like, okay, Roxas kind of explains it a little bit, but then, we don't get the full explanation, but we're like, oh, we're dealing with a time traveling
yep,
Sora, that kind of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna help you. Meanwhile, the present Sora is still there, obviously, because and I think that's just like interesting storytelling, and I'm like, oh, okay, now you explained it.
right,
Because I was confused in the base game. I'm just like, okay, so Roxas just kind of a little bit explains, and then Zemnis kind of pieces it together. Oh, he's like,
right,
okay, and and I kind of like that like with Roxas, I think what in the Remind DLC, everyone's pointed out that when you play the other Guardians of Light, Mima with Sora and Goofy are fighting Master Xehanort, and they're fighting all those clones and all that. Like
yeah,
people started geeking out that like, oh my gosh, Roxas and Ventus are talking. It's just
right.
Jesse
It's like, oh, they're
McCartney
actually
talking.
saying stuff. They're actually interacting. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I was literally laughing my butt off because I'm just like, it's just Jesse McCartney talking to
It's just like,
himself.
same thing whenever Sora's talking with Venice. It's just like, oh, it's just Haley Joel Osment talking with each other. Easy.
Yeah, like I think it was also like funny though that like when Sora finds out that Vanitas looks like him, he's like, your face.
Yeah.
And
I'll
then
be
me
freaking out too. It's just like, well, hello?
because I wanted to see the actual reaction because before Sora and Goofy go to fight Master Xehanort, you just see like Axel or Lee, whichever one you want to go by. He literally says, I wanted to explain everything to Roxas and Shion.
Mhm.
And then you
And they
see
just look at each
Ventus.
other and then they're like, oh, why don't they talk? It's like, I mean, I was guessing like honestly, it was like it wasn't the right time, right place type stuff.
Yeah,
And then
because they're
Roxas was brought up to speed. Ventus was probably like the one who's like, wait, what's going on? Right. But Roxas is like, oh, okay, so that's the dude that looks at me. Got it. Yeah.
yeah. Like I kind of like how like Ventus doesn't even question it. I'm like, man, these characters don't question things. And it's
It's like,
so
yeah, no,
funny.
it's all, we've seen some stuff. It's just another Tuesday.
Like
Mhm.
it's just funny because I think people have mentioned with like Roxas, he like Jesse kind of does a little bit different. Like Roxas kind of sounds more wise, meanwhile Ventus kind of sounds immature.
Yeah.
Like the tones, and I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense now. Yeah.
Well, I definitely think he does that on purpose. So, like, well, like he does those like subtle little differences in which now, like, Rox is a bit more collective, a bit more
Yeah.
brooding, darker, and then Ventus is all like, "Hey, are we gonna go to Chuck E. Cheese today?" So, like, it's like that difference, and I like that. It's just like he's not just back in the booth. It's like, okay, Ventus line one, hello. Roxas line one, hello. It's like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
the same voice, but just like in a different approach.
Yeah, like I think that's good because it's differentiating the characters. Like even though they could practically just be twins at this
Hmm.
point, but Jesse McCartney does a great job of like differentiating them because as we all know, like all of the characters went through something tragic.
Oh yeah.
Like I would say both Ventus and Roxas equally went through like a lot of tragic stuff. Like Ventus had to deal with his heart being like his darkness was taken out of him, from Master Xehanort. I'm like, oh
Mhm.
my gosh. I was like,
And then God knows how much abuse he went through before that. So
hmm. Yeah, and for those if you at least played the mobile game or watched the walkthrough, it's like, oh my gosh.
yeah, oh, yeah.
Like Ventus doesn't get no break. Like, I'm like, bro doesn't get no break. And
Mhm.
it's such a crazy, wild ride with what they did with Kingdom Hearts. But yeah, I do agree with you though that like Sora only got those abilities because, is only able to dual wield because of Roxas.
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
Yeah, because I'm presuming Roxas at first couldn't dual wield until he absorbed Shion. Is that the case? Because I think that's the
So
case, right? Or I
it's it
don't know how.
it seems that it was like completely natural that Roxas was able to sync blade because he wields like the blade of his own blade and Ventus's blade. But then what was keeping him from unlocking that full potential was Shion. Shion's existence was like kneecapping his own growth. And we've seen that throughout the game
Mm,
3 days, where like, okay, Shion gets stronger, Roxas gets weaker, and then like one had to go. So when Shion got reabsorbed back into Sora or Roxas, when it comes to like Shion's existence coming to an end, Roxas was able to like get his full power back. So because like a big
mhm,
misconception that happened for years, right, was that oh Roxas, the second Keyblade he wields is the Keyblade he took from Shion. Like he defeated Shion and like was able to absorb her, and then that's the second Keyblade. He's like, no, his second Keyblade was always Ventus's Keyblade. That's why he's able to dual wield. Because he holds like Ventus's essence within him, as turns out in Birth by Sleep. And
mhm.
then the only thing stopping him from doing that naturally in the beginning of 35 days was Shion existing. After Shion just, ceased to exist at that point, Roxas was able to dual like no problem.
Okay. Yeah, because if I remember correctly, wasn't it like that was their intention was to have Shion like absorb Rox's power, I think?
So they like the organization's attempt was just like, all right, we're gonna control Sora through the replica program, but then they because that's what they were planning to do since Chain of Memories, but then they really got lucky with Roxas coming into existence because that wasn't
Mhm,
part of the plan. But then they got Roxas and like, okay, we have Roxas, but we're still working on the replica program, and then we still came up with Shion number I, and then
mhm,
Shion started to get her own personality
mhm.
and was able to summon a Keyblade on her own. So then at that point, the organization was like, okay, this is good. Our bases are kind of loaded, so like whatever works out in the end is what we're gonna go with, right? And that's what
Mm.
Zemnis was like, just dealing with. But then they want to expedite that process, like, all right, we're gonna need one of them to kill each other, so let's just put them against each other, and then that was like the later half of
Yeah.
the tragedy that is 358 days. God, such a good game, and
Mhm.
yeah, so that's what they were aiming for. They were like either through Roxas or either through Sora. Not either through Roxas or through Shion, they were trying to control the Keyblade's power, right? Because
Mhm.
at that point, the only person that they were able to like know for a fact that had the Keyblade was Sora. Like, Riku
Mhm.
was running around with Soul Eater that have yet to like truly manifest as Way to the Dawn. And then the
Mhm.
like Terra Aqua and Ventus were in the wind. So like, okay, we have to focus on this.
Ah, okay.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. I see. Another question by Shadow underscore Wolf 475. From best to worst, what's your ranking of all the Norts? Are you talking about the boss fights, I'm presuming?
I'm thinking they're talking about like the Nords, like whoever got Norded, like
Oh, okay.
or I'll just go for like the actual Nords because I mean like Xehanort did Nord a bunch of characters, but I'm just gonna go like straight up Xehanorts like young Xehanort, Terra Xehanort, old man Xehanort, Zemnis, Ansem, and that's it. And people like to separate Apprentice Xehanort, but that's just Terra Xehanort. So if I had
Yeah.
to list them, um, it would go from from least to greatest. I would put or least favorite to most favorite. I would go Terra Xehanort, then Ansem, the Seeker of Darkness, then a, because I'm gonna count Apprentice Xehanort and Terra Xehanort as the same person. So like it will be Terra Xehanort, Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, then Master Xehanort, then Young Xehanort, then Zemnis. So Zemnis is my number one with Young Xehanort right afterwards, and
Mhm.
then at the bottom would be Terra Xehanort. That
Mm.
those are my ranking of the Norts.
Interesting. Because I know that like a lot of people love young Xehanort.
Oh yeah,
Um,
Ben Diskin, he's great. Like,
Yeah,
uh,
I actually met him like many
mhm.
years ago. So I got to meet young Xehanort and I was like, this is the same dude who voices number one and number two in Codename Kids
Yeah.
Next Door. I was like, that dude got range. Like
Oh yeah.
I
Nah,
was
Ben
I
is
was
Ben's a great person. I've come to know him over the years and whatnot, and then wherever we get a chance, we hang out. Especially when it comes to him being on the con circuit, if I'm in the area, whatnot. So he's an amazing and such a talented voice actor, and it's so funny because every time there's a new project that comes out, and then I either figure out that it's him, like because I hear his voice, and I'm like, that's Ben. Either when I figure that out or when I see the credits, I'm like, you're this character. I immediately like text him. I'm like, bro, you're this character and you didn't tell me. And then he's like, hey, I don't know what you're talking about. Right. So, and then obviously he has to play coy for NDA. But then when it came to the point, it's like, yeah, that was me. I'm like, see, I knew that was you, man.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Like the one that surprised me a lot recently was that the fact that he's the new Black Doom in Shadow Generations. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's you? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, what the bro? I thought they still had Sean Shamel do that. That's you. That's crazy. I could not hear that with you. I'm like, did it hurt? And then he was telling me that in order to do the Black Doom, he could get in his voice deep because he does a lot of deep characters. But when it comes like that deep raspy voice he has to do for Black Doom, he has to go deep, but then he gargles a lot of milk in order to like coat his
Oh.
throat in like dairy and then would hit the recording boot and then do the shadow. Like, I'm like, damn, that's wild, bro. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. I'm still like so like jazzed about like you're Black Doom. You're Black Doom. So like you're like you and Kirk Thornton, like Chris, because Kirk Thornton voices Shadow. I'm like, so you and Kirk Thornton are back together, and well, because you're as young Xehanort and he's Syx, and now you guys are back together again, Black Doom and Shadow the Hedgehog. That's crazy.
Yeah. Like it's just wild, right? When you find out, wait a minute, what?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think, finding that out, like I said, a lot of great voice actors have great range. Like, yeah, I thought it
Mm-hmm.
was Sean Schimmel too, because
Oh
like Ben,
yeah.
Ben Diskin really masked his voice, where, like you said, you couldn't even tell that was him, and then you saw the credits and you're like, wait, that was you? I was like, I thought it was Sean Schimmel. So. Like, he's definitely a master at his craft, you
Oh
know.
yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Mm.
I think I see, yeah, questions in the ch oh yeah, oh, okay. Here's another one by Dark Suji. What YouTuber inspires you to do what you do? Who still inspires your work? Is YouTube changing for the better or worse for content creators? Wow, that's like a whole barrage of questions.
That's a loaded question. That there's a lot to that question. I feel that's like a three-piece meal. All right, hold on. Let me work on the appetizer and then we'll get to the main course and maybe the dessert afterwards. Right. But I asked this earlier in the interview, but the content creators that inspire me, oh, I'm sorry, that inspired me to start doing YouTube way back when was Angry Joe, Aaron Hansen, aka Eagle Raptor, and Yuri of Wind, right? And I still watch their work to this day, and I think they're all like amazing, content creators in different aspects in which how they do presentation, how they tackle certain subjects and whatnot, and they're just their range of creation and whatnot. And then I've actually had the pleasure of meeting both Aaron and Angry Joe. I've yet to meet Yuri Win in real life, but we've come to know each other and we message each other every now and again. But then, of course, they still inspire me now. But I would say the people like the content creators that inspire me, like in the now, in the next generation, is that of course a lot of my colleagues. I look up to a lot of my colleagues that I've worked with before that we've done this content creation side by side. All the key keepers, Sarah, Sky, Dean, Jared, and then a bunch of my homies within the Zelda Nintendo community. Right, they all inspire me. Austin St. John, Philly Beats You, Commonwealth Realm, Zeltic, Zelda Master Luke, Monster Maze, Tyrell Gamer, Dr. Wiley. There's so many people that continue to help me, like, keep up with this nonsense that is content creation. And of course, one of my big recent inspirations that I've you know, come to call one of my close friends, Fifi. Amazing VTuber. She shoots for the sky and comes down with stars every time, and that's just so inspiring to me. Like what she does with her journey and her work. So like that's another one. And then so that those are the content creators that inspire me. And then when looking at the whole of YouTube, like the landscape, it's like YouTube is constantly changing, and that's something that people need to have had understood years ago. Like you can't like just go in the idea that like, okay, I'm gonna do YouTube and this is what works today, and I'm gonna keep doing it for forever. You can't, because YouTube and its algorithm, and not only just YouTube and its algorithm, but also the people that the people that consume the content in terms of content creation are constantly shifting in terms of like how much they watch, what they watch, when they want to watch it, how they want to watch it. And that's something you have to keep on top of if you ever want to enter this game. And I will say this, that I'm not like it to say that it's changed for the worse is like there's no nuance to saying something like that. What I will say is that it is changing more rapidly and rapidly as time goes on. And if you guys are hearing any of that, I apologize. There's roofers on my roof. But the game and how the landscape of YouTube is constantly changing, is changing faster as time goes on. So that's something that you have to be aware of, and you have to, keep track of, because if you don't, you will get left behind. Right. And another thing to note that this is as true as it was back then and as true as it is now, is that in order like to get far in this game, obviously a good chunk of hard work and consistency goes into it, but for the most part it's luck, right? And that's something that you have to acknowledge. So if anyone wants to get into this game, I implore you guys to start this as a hobby, and if and when it takes off, then if you want to put more of your time, money, resources, or passion into it, then your foot's in the door at that point. So that's what that's I hope that covered everything.
Nice, nice. You guys are asking some great questions in the chat here. Like I was just like, oh,
Some paragraph questions.
Yeah, that one I was like, whoa, that was a loaded question. Ooh, okay. Where's my next question? Oh, okay. Here's my next question for you, HMK. Is there a Kingdom Hearts character you relate to in terms of personality?
Oh, absolutely. A lot of people say, "Oh, your favorite character is Roxas." Ask me, Roxas. Like, no, it's like, oh, like you identify with this person, this person. The character I identify with the most in Kingdom Hearts is Zigbar. That character is just like, yeah, he's laid back, but he keeps his ear to the ground. He likes staying aware, but he doesn't. He's like someone you can chill with, crack open a beer, have some laughs, crack a joke, but then he's always locked in whether you think so or not. And that's something that I feel like, like it personally identifies with me. I'm like, oh, that's definitely like my vibe and whatnot. And you'll always see him smiling. There's like just very rare instances where he's like taken aback and whatnot, and he's always playing like all the cards he can. He always makes sure that he always has like a backup plan, something in his back pocket and whatnot, and he doesn't forget where he comes from. So yeah, like it definitely have to be Zigbar. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like I think I love the plot twist they did in 3, where it's like
Yep.
revealed that. Oh yeah, it's like.
He's like, by the way, I'm Luciu. Yeah. So like
I was like, wait a minute, what? It was like I think it was just brilliant because I don't think nobody suspected him. Like he played his role pretty well where he's like, oh yeah, I don't want anyone to know who I actually am.
Right. Because I always thought that Zigbar, like ever since Kingdom Hearts 2 and then in 358 Days, so I always knew that Zigbar was important, and like him and Xehanort were like obviously like number 1, number 2, and he's Xehanort's right hand man. So like, and then we see like their history in Birth by Sleep. It's like, all right, now this guy's important, right? But then after playing Birth by Sleep, you kind of have the idea is like, okay, he's important, but like there's probably nothing huge in terms of mystery. He's just like some dude that like, okay, now I vibe with this and I'm gonna be in that realm. So I always knew he was gonna be that important, but then when the Lucian reveal happens, like I didn't know he was gonna be that important. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, all right, Zigbar. I rock with it. All right, so like I always knew it was gonna be, I always knew he was gonna be important, and probably still be important because we never actually saw him, fade away during the Keyblade War. And I'm like, and I'm playing the game, and I'm like, okay, they did that for a reason, so I'm pretty sure he probably isn't dead. And then we see him in that, and then we turns out that he's Lucian. I'm like, wow, all right,
Yeah.
cool. So like, it was very pleasant, and I love Zigbar, and I love the way that James Arnold Patrick, wait, is it James Arnold Patrick, James Patrick Stewart, yeah, James Patrick Stewart portrays him, and I can't wait to see more of him. So I'm like, I'm really happy that he's sticking around.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I kind of like how he kind of just played like, I just want the Keyblade, so that way no one would suspect that he's Lushu, because
Mm-hmm.
obviously Lushu's role was to like pass down the Keyblade, the no name, right? If I remember the name of the Keyblade that
Yep.
the MOM gave him, it's like you gotta pass this down. And then all he had to do was just observe. So, and I think it was pretty brilliant of Zigbar, where he's like, I got to be close to this guy so I can like observe him. And obviously, he has to see if it actually comes true, and he just has because I think if I remember correctly, he wasn't supposed to interfere in any way, right? Otherwise, if he does interfere, it might like uh you probably have better memory than me, HMK.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I remember, Luciu was just to observe events from afar and not
Yeah.
intervene at all,
He was,
right?
yeah, he was told not to intervene in terms of like, something that could change what goes down in the Book of Prophecy, right?
Mhm.
Because he's not supposed to be like changing what goes there. It's not written. It's already written, and not to make any temporal paradoxes, right? So as long as he didn't have, I want to assume that as long as he didn't have the no name in his hands, like as long as he just like just let it ride and just kept watching from a distance, like okay, I'm good, I'm good. And then Xander comes along and says, all right, this is the person I was waiting for, easy. And that
Mhm.
was part of the plan, as we got revealed in the Suga reports. Because the initial part of the plan that we got in Key Backover and in Unicross was that Masters told him to take the box, take the gazing eye, go out, just go out to the outside world, survive, pass the Keyblade down, and just watch, because that's part of the plan in order to have the Book of Prophecies written correctly, and in order to continue having the Master's eye go into the future, which is a whole other can of worms in terms of how the Master is able to phase in and out of certain points of time. But then another part of the plan that gets revealed in the secret reports for Kingdom Hearts 3 is that he was also supposed to be waiting for someone that would initiate the Keyblade War on his own, not that he's being poked or prodded by anyone. He's like, hey, by the way, you should definitely start the Keyblade War. He's like, no, he found someone. He's like, oh, they're going to do it naturally. Word, easy. This guy gets the Keyblade, and I'm going to watch over him, and I'm gonna help that guy along, right? Because that's part of the
Mhm.
plan. So
Yeah.
he didn't interfere. It was all like naturally occurring.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Like, I think it was just like, because obviously, if we didn't have the context of the ending of KH3, you're just like, where did Lucy disappear to?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because you're
Right.
like wondering where, and then, obviously Luciu was jumping from one body to another to be sure he was still alive because, he was still doing his role pretty much, and then at the end of KH3, he's like, um, oh my gosh. What? Oh my gosh. I'm trying to remember the guy with the unicorn mask. What was his name?
Era.
Era. Like he's like, Luciu, is that you? It's like, I have not heard that name in a long time. I'm just
Right.
it was like that really shocked me. I was not expecting that plot twist, but I loved the plot twist. Um, so and because I think it's also very interesting also in the Remind DLC that like wait like Xehanort talked to the MOM. It's like that makes much more
Right.
sense now. It makes much more
Oh,
sense now.
absolutely.
with how the organization, 13 got the black robes.
Hmm.
MOM, you know.
Because like
um
Zeno was able to get it, and then like okay, Zeno looks at it, it's like all right, I can recreate this. Like I can make more of these things.
so it was just wild. I think was also interesting is finding out about Luke's sword, and then people like caught on to, I think right after you have that Yozora fight, and then you just see Luke's sword.
And the card, that's my goat. That's my dude. I was so happy that Luke Sword's like important to the story, like to that
Mhm.
degree. I'm like, yes, yes.
I was wondering his importance, right? Because it's like, oh, we only see him in like, three three over 358 over two just a bit, and then like in two, and it's like, wait, was he important to the story or
Well, I mean, like he
so
was still the one like doing the nonsense in Pirates, right? So he was
yeah,
doing his job, but then like he was in Pirates, and then we fight him at the what do you call it? At the World Never Was, and then
yeah.
you exchange like two lines of dialogue, and then he had to go. So like,
Yeah, like I think I think the only mysterious character we still don't know yet is Demix.
yeah, we
They
know
have
nothing about that character.
I'm just like, I want to know how important he is because, like, we've seen obviously with Larxene and Marluxia, and of course Luke Sword and Zigbar. It's like, where's Demix? Like, they don't even show his importance to the story.
Hmm.
So, like I kind of like, yeah, like I want to know what his role in the story is because it's like we need some Demix. Obviously
Hmm.
he's supposed to be, you know, I kind of like that line of dialogue when like Eben is kind of like, oh yeah, I want to go to you because you're not even being used anyways.
Right.
And and then Demic's like, what was in it for me? And it's like, well, you're not gonna be fighting. Okay. Like Demix just goes along
It's
with
like
it.
no bench. It's like no fighting, but no bench armor. So you get to do something. It's like, all right, word.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, like, because I want to know more because obviously, I think there was like a cutscene in three where they mention about, oh yeah, like obviously Xehanort wanted to recruit them because like, oh, you might have connection to the Keyblade War.
Yeah, the
Obviously,
ancient Keyblade legacy.
yeah,
Hmm. And we still don't
obviously,
know what that means. We kind of have an idea of the context it could mean for Marluxia and Larxene because it turns out
mhm,
they were from Union Cross as Lorium and Elena, right?
yeah.
But then when it comes to Demix and Luxor, that because before we found out what we did about Luxor, because this cutscene obviously came out before Rimon came out, and then Demix is still in the wind. So
Mhm.
like we kind of had the assumptions like, oh, we'll eventually see Luxor and Demix in Union Cross, and we never did. And then at this point in time, to this day, we still have no idea what Xemnas meant for those two characters. We have the idea for Marluxia and Larxene, absolutely, but like those two characters, like, okay, what does that mean? Like,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
Demix is like, okay, man, Demix, we know nothing about Demix. It's gonna
Yeah.
be funny though.
Yeah. Like, because obviously we know Luke's sword is from Unreality or Quadratum, right?
Mm-hmm.
From what we know so far. And it's like, okay, where does Demix fall into this story? Like,
Exactly.
it's like, come on, Square, throw us a bone. It's like you gave all the other characters some important role, and then Demix is just like, yeah, he's just like on the bench, and it's like, what? Oh, I was like, what's his importance to the story?
I feel it will come. Like it's gonna be big and it will come, but you just have to wait. I guess we have to wait for Kingdom Hearts 4.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, speaking of Kingdom Hearts 4, like, what did you think of Sora's new look in Unreality in that teaser trailer?
Honestly, I really, really, really like his clothing. Right, his clothing, his design is good. I don't have a problem with his more realistic look. The one thing that I would change or not even change or edit, change, adapt, whatever, is that I would give his hair a bit more definition. Like it's like
Hmm.
too spiky. It's spiky where it should and shouldn't be, if that makes any sense. Because like I feel like
Mhm.
the spikes starting from like towards the bottom of his hair is just off-putting if there's not some spikes to go along with it, leading to that. Because his hair for the most part is like kind of brushed at the top, and I'm like, all right, I need more. I need more spikes higher. You know, I need
Yeah.
more like wild hair towards the top because to me it just seems too brushed at the top. That's my only problem with his design. Right, but other than
Mhm.
that, I really like it. I like the leather jacket over the red hoodie. I love the yellow and black Converse looking shoes. The shorts he have on is like after his is like past his knees and whatnot. So I really like his design.
Mm.
And especially the way his design got updated ever so slightly in the screenshots. I'm like, all right, cool. This is we're headed in the right direction, but I just want his hair to be more spikier, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of Sora's like defining like appearances, His hair has got
Right.
to be spiky. And then when you kind of take that away, it's like because I've told my friends this that like when I saw that teaser trailer, I'm like, Sora looks very Final Fantasy-esque looking.
Oh yeah,
Like
absolutely.
like it because for those if you play at least like the recent Final Fantasy stuff, oh my gosh, they put so much detail in the hair, and
Hmm.
the face. And it's like when I saw Sora, I'm like, oh my gosh, he's turning into Final Fantasy now. Like the way he looks, like his hair has more defining details,
Yep, and
where
well,
it's like,
that's the power of Quadratum.
mhm. Like, and then I think some people were like wondering, wait a minute, so there's two different art styles because in that teaser trailer, you still see Donald and Goofy in that KH3 Remind style,
Hmm.
and then people are like, wait a minute, and then I think they actually said that's actually intentional, you
Oh yeah,
know, and I
it's absolutely intentional. Nomura is confirmed on record because like a lot of people they don't read the interviews as much as they should, or like
Mhm.
especially like if you're gonna have a conversation about Kingdom Hearts like that, I think you should like take some time to like read aspects of when the people creating the game are talking about the game. And
Mhm.
Nomura's been on record saying that like, oh, if Sora, yeah, absolutely, if Sora were to return to his worlds outside of like the Quadrum, he would go back to how he looked in Kingdom Hearts 3, right? That's
Mhm.
not is like because a lot of people get misconstrued that like, oh, the series in its entirety period is moving forward with this one look specifically. It's like, no, he only looks like that because he's in Quadrum. That's the point,
Yeah.
right? So, I feel that a lot of people were like, it's not like they were angry, but they were concerned about that. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you shouldn't be concerned, especially if you played Kingdom Hearts 3 and Remind, then you would
Mhm.
know. So like you shouldn't be concerned.
Mhm. Oh, okay. This is an interesting question. Another question by Dark Suji. They said, what content would make you upset if it was not in Kingdom Hearts 4? What aspect in mechanics or gameplay Kingdom Hearts needs to change for KH4? Oh, that's a loaded question again.
Uh, I would say what content would make me upset if it wasn't Kingdom Hearts 4? Yozora, easily. If Yozora's not in Kingdom Hearts 4, I will legitimately be upset. Like that is a big reason why I'm buying this game. Right? Of course, I'm buying it
Mhm.
because it's Kingdom Hearts and I love Kingdom Hearts, but like Yozora is a extremely gigantic selling point for me in this game. I'm not asking for him to be playable. I want him to be playable, absolutely. But if he just does not show up or is taking like the most backseat of backseats in this game, I will legitimately be upset. It's like we waited this long
Mhm.
and then Yozora just shows up for like 2 seconds. Like, what are we doing here? Right. So
Mhm.
that's something that will legit upset me. Um,
Mhm.
in terms of mechanics or gameplay that needs to change for Kingdom Hearts 4, I really like how Kingdom Hearts 3 played, and I don't want them to change up the gameplay so hard that people were like, "Oh, Kingdom Hearts 3's gameplay sucks." Like, no, it didn't. It's just that it's the next evolution step.
Yeah,
Like,
it's the next evolution step.
we saw that in the trailer. Sora uses something very close to air stepping that we saw in Kingdom Hearts 3, and that's a mechanic
Yeah.
I don't ever want to see gone ever.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna make more Kingdom Hearts games, air stepping needs to stay in this game, right?
Mhm.
If you want to tweak it, be my guest, right? Because that's what we saw with the chain mechanic that we saw
Yeah.
in the trailer. Um, Mechanics or gameplay that Kingdom Hearts needs to change for Kingdom Hearts. I would say like, okay, if we're gonna bring back Keyblade switching, I've said this many times on my streams. If we're gonna keep keyblade switching, or like the sword can have up to 3 keyblades at once. If we're gonna keep that, make keyblade switching more what do you call it? More liberating, make it more quicker, make it more viable. Like take a page out of Devil May Cry, right?
Yeah.
Because or Devil May Cry, or even like another Square Enix game, Final Fantasy 16. Like the way
Mm-hmm.
that Clive could switch between icon powers was like very
Mm-hmm.
seamless on the fly. In Kingdom
Mm-hmm.
Hearts 3, it was very like, mods help it out in the PC version. But
Yeah.
if you don't mod the game, switching between your keyblades mid combo was very cumbersome, right?
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like it
Yeah.
only had the intent to like, oh, you're gonna switch this when you're either out of combat or you're standing still. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, like make it more seamless, and then we've got a ball game. We absolutely have a ball game. So that's one aspect I would like them to change or adapt. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely like the Keyblade switching because it's like Square has shown in other games that they have the capability to do that,
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like apply that to, switching Keyblades in and out. Like you said, yeah, because I don't want to be doing that when there's no battle, because when you're fighting, you don't have access to the menu, to
Right.
change your keyblade. So it's like, come on, Square. It's
Mm-hmm.
like you have the capability, like you said, you mentioned in Final Fantasy 16 with Clive, he's able to switch between the icon powers like very easily and
Yep.
seamlessly without no issue, without having to go to the menu and say, oh, I better
Mm-hmm.
go change this, So, um, but yeah, uh, I would say for me, like I would like for them to change the button for the attraction thing, please, because that was annoying in three.
Mm-hmm.
If
Wait,
you
so which button? The
the ride attractions when you can summon the rides.
Oh, okay, yeah, triangle, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because like that's the same button to open treasure chests, and I
Yeah, I
kept
just
having that issue.
I feel that. I turn that stuff off. I I just like after the critical mode patch came out for Kingdom Hearts 3, and then they gave us an ability that like, oh, critical converter, which, oh, you can turn off attractions, but then you get this instead. I'm like, oh, easily I turn it off. It was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
it was very in the way. And I get that
yeah.
so much. There are times where like, okay, I'm trying to open a chest, and then Sora's like, nah, we're going to Disneyland. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah, because in the base game, if you just played the base game and not the DLC, with the added
yeah,
critical thing, you're like, oh, I wish I could turn this thing off.
yeah,
Like it was annoying because you're kind of like, okay, it's like, oh yeah, I gotta go collect the chest, right? If you want to 100%, if you're one of those types of people that want to 100% a game, be my guest. Oh, but before back in the day, before we even got the DLC, they're like, nope, that
yeah,
ride thing is getting in the way.
yep.
So I kind of feel like I wish it was like a different button at least. So that way it doesn't interfere, when you're trying to open a chest, because it did get annoying a lot. And I'm like, it's like,
Mhm.
um, so I think that's something they need to change, but I really love the way Sora is in Cage 3. Like he's a lot faster. Like
Oh yeah.
when you compared the numbered titles, Sora was obviously slow because he had those big clown shoes, in the first game, right? That's why he couldn't really run fast. Two, a little bit better, but his shoes were like, still a little bit too big, just a little bit. But then in three, he's just like, I'm just sprinting. And I'm like, whoa. I was like, when did you get so fast?
Yeah, he just took it up to 11, and I'm there for that kind of speed.
Like, and I actually love the gliding in three. So much easier to like do. Um, because when you compare three and the first game in terms of gliding, oh my gosh, the gliding's so much better in three.
Oh yeah.
Um, like, because I remember when I played the first game, I was just like, oh, like, why is the gliding like a little bit like, when you compare the animation, like the animation seems it's obviously better in three. with the gliding, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I could glide for longer than, in than the first game. So I was like, oh, this is good.
Oh, that was definitely a bit cumbersome. Because I like the credit I give to them is this: it was Kingdom Hearts 1, so I mean,
hmm
they were still figuring stuff out.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Okay. So this person I see in the chat, literally Will Bill 1998 says, "What is your favorite type of waifus?" I don't know. Is this another
Oh,
troll?
what?
Is this
Nah,
another
it will
troll?
believe someone from my chat, but I mean, like, I can't be describing a waifu. I got rules I gotta follow, man. I can't be saying descriptions like that on this stream. I'll tell you
Yeah.
later.
Yeah. Ooh, okay. Okay, here's my next question for you. What do you enjoy most about the Kingdom Hearts series as a whole? Is it like the story, the character interactions, where the story is going? Yeah, pretty much what I mentioned.
It's a lot of avenues, right? It's all over the place, and that's I feel that that's kind of the answer to the question, right? It's not something I can't really choose something specifically for Kingdom Hearts because, like, for Kingdom Hearts, there are so many aspects of the series that I love that works together in such an amazing and, you know, I would say, like, I wouldn't have expected it. Unexpected. Yeah, there you go. It's such an amazing yet unexpected way how amazing this game runs. The characters, the way they're designed, the way that they're portrayed, their interactions, and that's just characters. That's just an aspect of presentation. The music is insane. It's amazing. Yoko Shimomura is the best at what she does. Right, she is
Mhm.
literally the goddess of video game music. Right.
Mhm.
I really like the writing. Nomura is really good at writing these characters in a pseudo shonen esque uh seinen, and even like aspects of God, I'm forgetting the genre that Sailor Moon would fall under. Um
Magical Girl?
Not magic girl. It's not genre. I'm sorry, demographic. That's what I was looking
Oh,
for.
demographic.
Yeah, but aspects from that demographic within that of Kingdom Hearts, a lot of people try to sandbag his way of writing Kingdom Hearts, but I adore it. I think it's really good. He's not afraid to get zany. He's not afraid to go in various wild ways in terms of the lore and respecting people's intelligence when they consume said lore. And the art style is amazing. The right amount of colors. I keep saying that the way that Kingdom Hearts is presented is like goofy, edgy, right? It
Yeah,
has the right
goofy,
amount of
edgy,
goofiness,
yeah.
it has the right amount of edginess, and that's just right up my alley, right?
hmm
And then all of that tied together in a bow with what is the most important thing of a video game, which I feel shouldn't be debated, and it's the gameplay. Kingdom Hearts has
hmm
amazing gameplay, right? It's just like it's the epitome of enjoyable, frantic yet concise, controlled action RPG, right? A lot of people think that from the outside looking in, they look at it and think it's like oh, it's random nonsense, especially when you're fighting grunt characters like Heartless or Nobodies or whatnot. But then, like, the game really shines in terms of the one-on-one boss battles, the grand stages that get set up in terms of fighting certain bosses, where it be Heartless or humanoid, like not just Heartless, because I mean there's obviously Nobodies in numbers, but a monstrous like bosses versus humanoid bosses. A lot of them are crafted so well that a lot of people really don't acknowledge this, but a lot of people within the FGC, the fighting game community, loves Kingdom Hearts specifically for its gameplay. And the
hmm
reason why they do is because the gameplay is so well crafted in terms of timing and frames and knowing when to punish bosses and knowing when to back off in terms of like their rage meter and whatnot is like it's very comparable to that of fighting games, right? It's like,
hmm
oh, if I do this combo string, pause here, and then possibly do a block anticipating someone trying to, fight back at me, or hitting this button at the right frame in order to extend my combo in order to maximize that damage. A lot of that translates from Kingdom Hearts into fighting games, and that's why a lot
hmm
of fighting game players like Kingdom Hearts. And a lot of people refuse to acknowledge that, and I don't know why. But like, it's such it's such a broad aspect, and that's probably why Kingdom Hearts is like up there in my top, at my absolute top favorite video game franchise of all time, because there's so many aspects of the games that work so well together.
Hmm. Yeah, like a real another good example, like you said, you mentioned fighting games,
Mm-hmm.
Smash Bros. Ultimate actually translated Sora's fighting style pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Oh
you
yeah.
know like I kind of like with the magic, it just cycles,
Oh yeah.
like, and I think they did a great job. And then when I was playing, I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm playing Kingdom Hearts even though this is not
Exactly,
Kingdom
especially with the,
Hearts.
the air combos. Like it's so funny how like Smash was able to it was able to capture what do you call it, uh jump dropping with Sora. And I'm like, that is literally from Kingdom Hearts 1. I do this all the time in Kingdom Hearts 1, where I just like, I make sure I do an attack to fast follow in order to open up an enemy, and then just do a ground combo or a strong hit in order to do that. I do, like, you can do that with Sora in Smash from his forward aerial, land on the ground, they're stuck in animation, and then just either do a combo or hit him with a forward smash. And I'm like, that's amazing. That's a legit Kingdom Hearts thing to do in Smash.
Yeah, like, um, but I kind of like how they also had to balance out Sora so he doesn't come off as OP,
Mm-hmm.
because if they actually incorporate stuff from like his fighting style from all three of the numbered tiles, you'd be like, oh snap, you're not gonna win that fight. Like, so they had to like balance him out and actually make him easy to launch, because
Mm-hmm.
Sora's actually light. And I'm like,
Oh yeah, he's really light in the game.
so that's why I'm kind of like, oh my gosh, it's like you kind of have to be careful when you're using Sora because like other characters can easily launch him because he's light, a light character. So I think, that's part of it.
Oh yeah.
So that's why I think that's good. They actually try to balance him and not make him too OP, for that. So they had to like balance that out. And like I said, it felt like I was just playing a Kingdom Hearts game, even though we're playing a fighting game.
Oh yeah.
Um, ooh, ooh. Oh, okay. So this is another interesting question. Another question from Dark Suji. They said, do we need another Recom-esque game soon? I don't mean a middle game, I mean bring back the card game in game form.
Oh, I'm good. No, I am good. No, like Reach and Memories, like Chain of Memories or Reach and Memories, it explored what it did and it was fun. And I would play it again. Absolutely. Do I want another game like that? No. They tried to bring back the whole card thing again in Dark Road, and that tested a bit of my patience. But I'm good. Like it's funny because like Kingdom Hearts has messed around with card based mechanics. Like multiple times after Chain of Memories. We had Chain of Memories, Chain of Memories. We had the Flick Rush and Dream Drop Distance. We had Dark Roads gameplay in general. It's just like I'm good. Like if they're gonna explore, like if they're gonna do another game that isn't a number title and explores a different realm of gameplay mechanics, I am all for it. I don't need them repeating what they're doing with Chain of Memories. I'm not saying Chain of Memories is bad. It's just that I don't want it again. Like Kingdom Hearts has explored multiple facets of different types of gameplay. So like if they want to keep getting experimental, by all means. But Chain of Memories, I'm good. Like that's it can stay in Chain of Memories.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like you said, it like served its purpose,
Mm-hmm.
like with introducing cards
Oh yeah.
and stuff. And then obviously you have to be more strategic with using the cards because if you run out of cards, you're like, oh no, you gotta like shuffle it back.
Yeah.
Um, I couldn't really get behind it. I played it on the original GBA. I'm just like, no, no. I was like, I want the regular fighting. I don't want no cards. No, thank you.
It's funny
Um,
because I did enjoy Chain of Memories for what it was, but I understand how people are so abrasive to it. Like I get it when there are people when people are getting introduced to Kingdom Hearts, and then the second game they got to play is this card game, and then they're like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Yeah, they were doing stuff," and when people are like, "Oh, I want to skip this game," it's like, "Well, the story is like really, really important. So,
mhm.
like, if you're gonna skip the game, I at least watch the cutscenes." But I
Yeah.
get why people want to like skip it. I'm like, it's not a bad game, and it's not like a chore because like once the game clicks, I feel like a lot of people would like love it, but for a lot of people, it takes a while to click if it clicks at all. So like I get the hesitation.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Because I know I was like a little put off by it, so I literally just watched the cutscenes at least to like, and then when Recom came out, I'm like, okay, these are fully animated cutscenes. Let's watch this version. This,
Oh man,
because obviously they were just pixels,
right?
in the original GBA. It's like, okay, yeah, let's watch the actual cutscenes. And it kind of felt funny though, because like obviously Haley Joel Osment's voice like changed.
Yep.
So it's like he went from really sounding like very
Because
different in one.
his voice finally broke. So yeah,
And then it's like, oh my gosh. It's like, oh my gosh, his voice changed in Recon. And it's like, okay, like it's like it's just funny because like I'm hearing Cage 2 Sora now. Even though he's not 15 yet in Chain of Memories. So
yep.
I think it was just I think like you said, the like Chain of Memories and 358 over 2 days kind of connects with each other.
Oh yeah,
Um
absolutely.
because obviously 358 over 2 it's like, oh yeah, let's acknowledge that 358 over 2 days kind of takes place, but then from this perspective, from Rox's perspective, obviously he never met Sora until he like approached them and whatever, like I don't know. I like he took Sora, and then of course obviously if you play the final mix version in 2, you like actually fight him um and stuff. But I think, Chain of Memories, obviously they're like, oh yeah, let's we want to control the um Keyblade wielder, which is
Right.
understandable, you
Hmm.
know. And then they're like, and then probably like you said, like you mentioned earlier, the Organization 13, when they had, when Shion, they're like, oh, since plan A didn't work, let's just do it through let's do it this plan instead. So um I think, I think they do a pretty good job bridging the stories because I tell my friends, if you're gonna get into Kingdom Hearts, you really need to like, because I asked them, do you want to play it by release date or you want to play it chronologically? They're like,
Oh
release
no no no!
date.
You always gotta do a release date. You
Yeah.
gotta do a release date. When I see people that like chronologically, I'm like, no, no, don't do this to yourself. Don't do
Yeah.
this to yourself. You're gonna end up hating it like people that never played the games hate it. Don't do
Mhm.
it. You
Yeah.
gotta do it. You gotta do it chronologically. Not chronologically. By release date. You gotta do it by
Yeah.
release date. Please.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think, with what they did, I think it makes a lot more sense. Like the story makes more sense by release date. Like even though Birth by Sleep takes place like 10 years before the first game, it's like, well,
Yeah.
it still makes sense when you play one and then Chain of Memories or Recom, whichever version you want to play. And then you could play two, and then like which one came after two? Was it Birth by Sleep or was it like 358 over two
So Two
days?
Very Days came out before, no, it came out after two, and then Coded started, and then Birth by Sleep came out, and then Recoded got compiled, and it came out after Birth by Sleep, and then Dream Drop Distance. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to know the order of the release because I know like I know I get a little confused of between like Birth by Sleep and 358 over 2 because I know they were like promoting both. I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
Like I was like, wait, which one am I
Yeah, it
supposed to
was like
play
at a
next?
time there all three were being promoted like side by side. Like it was like I think they got revealed at the same time. So Birth by Sleep, 3 Days, and Coded were all being like promoted, like literally like shoulder to shoulder because they're all just like, yeah, check it out, three new games. I'm like, damn, we were eating good back then.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Oh. Okay, so wow, Dark Suji is just asking some interesting questions. So
mm,
they're like, with Kingdom Hearts, I don't know what they mean by this, but it says Kingdom Hearts 4 Training will ever get a chance to be Game of the Year, and it says why are casual always hung up with Kingdom Hearts is it too complicated of a story to start? I kind of feel if you do it through chronologically, I would say it's
Yeah,
very complicated to understand, you know.
because it's a form of media that's meant to be consumed in order of release, because the context that you learn from the previous release gets talked about in the next game. That's kind of like how Star Wars runs,
Yeah.
right? So like you're like people say that like, oh, if you're gonna watch Star Wars, start with episode 1, 2, and 3. It's like, no, you gotta start with 4, 5, and 6, because 4, 5, and 6 establishes context that is explored in 1, 2, and 3 that you're not gonna
Hmm.
know what they're talking about if you didn't
Yeah.
know this already, right? That's the
Yeah.
same thing with Kingdom Hearts. So Kingdom Hearts 4, like I don't know, like on the idea of like, oh, will this game ever get game of the year, a game that hasn't been released and we know very little about? It's like I can't really answer that question. I mean, it'll be cool
Yeah.
if it does. I will love Kingdom Hearts getting that recognition, but I'm not gonna put a game that is undeserving on the pedestal of game of the year just because I'm a fan. So
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
and then I feel like casuals always get hung up on Kingdom Hearts because like they know if they talk about it, there's gonna be people who talk back to them, and it's gonna be and there's a lot of people that just talk a lot of smack online in order to get responses because they don't have friends, and they mistakenly replace their idea of friendship with online engagement because that's the only way people will like acknowledge them. So like just people just talk about Kingdom Hearts and then they refuse to ever play it, but they know people talk to them about it. So it's like, yo, you should really give it a shot. Why are you just saying this? It's like, no, man, it's confusing. Then it's not. Just give it a shot. No, man, I know
Yeah.
I'm gonna be confused. It's like, then why are we here? Like,
Yeah. It's
uh,
yeah, that's why like I have some of my friends trying to get into it and I said play it by release date, please, because
yes,
if you try
please.
to play it chronologically, you're not gonna understand it. Like
Nope.
because lots of my friends tell me Sonic lore is hard to understand. You think that's hard to understand? Try playing Kingdom Hearts chronologically.
Yeah,
You're not.
Sonic lore is just is very all over the place. I remember
Yeah.
when there was a time where Sonic lore was kind of consistent, and then that
Hmm.
kind of all like got thrown out the window after '06 came out.
Hmm.
And then you can blame '06 for that because I mean '06 is '06 is '06. But yeah, like Sonic lore was like pretty straightforward when they were entering the modern era, but then now it's like I wouldn't say it's super all over the place, but there's various avenues where people can like look at Sonic lore. But I mean, like now a lot of people that are in charge of writing the games, promoting the games, and producing the games have been like trying to like pool everything together, and I appreciate that notion because I love Sonic.
Hmm.
So like when they're doing that kind of stuff, I'm like I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But like with Kingdom Hearts, it's a different beast, right? Because I'm
Yeah.
not saying that Sonic lore isn't complicated because it is, right? But there's different ways of complexities when it comes to certain video game franchises and their lore, right? For Kingdom Hearts, the story itself is pretty straightforward. When people
Hmm.
say like, "Oh, Kingdom Hearts is so confused," like the story, like the core story, isn't complicated.
Yeah,
It's
the core
a
story
boy from
isn't.
an island that
Hmm.
happened upon a catastrophe that incorporates the melding of worlds from Final Fantasy and Disney, right? And the core of that struggle is light versus darkness, and those that would exploit that struggle for their own individual gains. And Sora's just finding his place in all that. It's
Hmm.
not complicated. It's actually a very straightforward as Tale of Souls time story. Where we get
Hmm.
complicated is when we flesh out all these intricate details within the story. When we start
Yeah.
fleshing out the concept of a Keyblade, when we start fleshing out the Gardens of Light, the Secrets of Darkness, how darkness works, what Kingdom Hearts is, and what does it does? Why does everyone want this? Xehanort, the organization, and whatnot. The fact that each world runs on its own different timeline. So, like when you start going into the nitty gritty of the lore of Kingdom Hearts, that's where it gets complicated and complex. But even then, the story, all those complexities, is better experienced than it is told, right? Because if I try to tell you something from Kingdom Hearts like at face value, and you've never played Kingdom Hearts, it's gonna sound confusing to you. But if you play it, then like, oh, okay, I get it, right? Which is something that is like very common in terms of like any type of media, where it be a book, a movie, a TV show, or a video game. And then
Hmm.
another complicate another video game series that has a ton of lore that gets complicated, but in a different way, is The Legend of Zelda. You know,
Hmm.
we have the whole thing about the timeline, right? The Zelda timeline still confuses people to this day, and I don't know how, but it does, right? We have like a unified timeline starting with Skyward Sword, then it breaks in Ocarina of Time, in which it goes into 3 different timelines. And then we have the release of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom that somehow exists outside that timeline, and Nintendo refuses to acknowledge where it could possibly. They're just saying, we don't want to be hampered by the timeline, so it's outside that, it's beyond that, blah blah blah. Everything is myth before that. I'm like, okay, got it. And I know why they do that. It's because conversation drives sales, and sales drives revenue, and blah blah blah. And then with Sonic, the way it's complex is because the story, like, so there was a pretty concise story with the original games like Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and Knuckles. It was pretty, like, straightforward. And then we get to the modern era, and in the modern era starts its own type of, not that its own story, but its own perspective on where the Sonic lore is, because now we have Sonic in a more modern setting, and then people constantly argue, like, is this Earth, is this Mobius, what we're doing here? And then we have Sonic Adventure 2, and then that is a pretty concise story. We have Sonic versus Eggman, and Shadow gets introduced, the whole escapade of the space colony arc, what happened 50 years ago, Joe Robotnik, Maria Robotnik, all that stuff. And then that story continues and spills over into Sonic Heroes, into into Sonic Battle, into
Hmm.
and then it leads into Shadow the Hedgehog, and then all that
Yeah.
spills into Sonic 06. And then
Yeah.
Sonic 06 happened, and then Sonic 06 happened, and then Sega was like, okay, let's try new things. And then they
Yeah.
go in different directions with their games. They create Sonic and the Secret Rings, they create Sonic Unleashed, they create what do you call it, Sonic Colors and whatnot. And then, like, the main storyline in terms of actually being a line gets blurred at that point. And then
Yeah.
now we're at the point with Sonic Frontiers, Shadow Generations, that are referencing previous games. And now we have people like I forgot his name. Um, the lead writer for a lot of these projects. God,
Ian Flynn.
Ian Flynn. There you go. Yes, Ian Flynn. We have people like Ian Flynn that's trying to bring all the lore and references together and make it concise and whatnot. And then obviously he's not working alone. He's has multiple people that are now part of the Sonic franchise, part of the Sonic team, that are doing that, and that's appreciated because now we are dealing with games like Shadow Generations that's referencing aspects from Sonic Adventure 2, from Sonic Heroes, from Shadow Generation, from Shadow the Hedgehog and stuff. And it's important to, like, bring those aspects to life. But that's a whole avenue of complexity that's different from how complex Kingdom Hearts story is. So, like, yeah, it's just all different cans of worms. And don't even get me started on Metal Gear Solid. So yeah, that's it. It's just, I feel like people would be better off playing these games and experiencing the complexities of these stories rather than not giving them a chance and complaining
Hmm.
about it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Mhm.
definitely agree with you on that. Like, I think, I think what's intriguing is that in Kingdom Hearts you got to collect the reports because you get also another more lore
Mhm.
part of the story, because I think I had like a friend who played just the numbered titles, and and I think in three, or probably in two, they're talking about this girl, right? Like,
Mhm.
in the reports, and they're like, and then I think it was mentioned the cutscene in three, and then obviously they're looking for this girl, and they're like,
Yep.
"Who's this girl?" And I'm like, and I said, dude, have you not played the other games? Because they're also important.
Yeah.
And they're like, really? I was like, yeah, there's like birth by sleep, which is very vital to
Mhm.
understand that part.
Extremely vital.
Yeah, and then I think they did end up playing it, and they're like, oh, okay, now I get the context of what you're saying. I was like, and I said, yeah, do not. I was like, the number titles are good, don't get me wrong, but don't just play the numbered titles
Yeah, exactly.
because,
Like, all the games are important, all of them.
yeah,
Even the rhythm game. You're like,
yeah,
that was canon. I'm like, yes, it's canon. Like,
yeah,
it's very
yeah,
important.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
only towards the end of the game. It's the important part, obviously. you know?
I would say like I would say it's a good refresher course, and that's
Yeah,
important. Like especially with how long the Kingdom Hearts series has gone, it's like oh, it's good to like go through this whole story and refresh it. And especially
yeah.
like hearing it from the perspective of Kyrie is also very nice.
Yeah. I kind of find it funny how someone pointed out, I wonder what Alison Stoner was thinking when she's reading these
Yeah,
lines
it's like
for Melody and
okay.
Memory. Like she's probably confused of like, what am I reading here?
Oh yeah,
But yeah, but I do agree, yeah. Like Kyrie just summarizes it for you. Like she summarizes the entire like, each of the games where you're like, okay, okay, I'm caught up. And then
right.
and then you get to the juicy part at the end,
It's like oh
obviously.
yeah, that's very juicy.
Like uh I think what was intriguing is that like the fairy godmother from Cinderella knows about the mysterious star. And
Oh yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute, how does she know about this person? This is interesting.
Cause she's the GOAT. Your fairy godmother came in so clutch in that game. Like
Yeah.
he's great.
Yeah, because no, like even Master Yi and Sid had no idea about this
Hmm.
unreality, and then like because I really want to know what this girl looks like because we only hear the voice and then you're like, what did like
So
is it the
it,
girl in that trailer from
in the
Very
very
Next?
next trailer, yeah, it's heavily implied that Nemesis Star is her because like obviously she has like some sort of like deep connection with Yuzora, and considering that like oh she's the only basic confirmed story that like Yuzora is real and that like he would be distressed if I was missing and whatnot. So like I absolutely, and the fact that she wears a star necklace in that trailer. So
Oh,
like
that's true, yeah.
I like yeah, that's definitely her. The name of the star is definitely her.
So like I
But
think
then what's her
it's
name at this point? The
yeah, yeah, because obviously they just we're still calling her the nameless star.
nameless star, yeah. Mhm.
And I think like because I want to know more about Yozora, because why is he important in this, Because
Because he's the
I
goat.
because I think his dialogue I think also confused a lot of people, when he and Sora meet and he's like, this is not what I actually look like. And I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa. I'm like, interesting. I was like, what's this dialogue mean? And then people are trying to like analyze it. Like, what do you mean by that?
Right. There's so many theories surrounding that, and I honestly the one that I sign off on the most is the idea that I really do believe that Yuzora assumes that Sora sees him differently. But I really
Oh,
hope
okay.
that Sora actually does see him for who he is because I love that design of Yuzora. I would hate to see that like changed or go or anything like
Yeah.
that. But I think that Yuzora assumes that he only sees him as how everyone else sees him, which is not his real look. But then Sora sees him for his real look because like the fact that they fight on
Hmm.
top of Sora's Station of Awakening that
Hmm.
becomes the 104 building shows that their hearts are connected in some way, shape, or form. Right. And if
Yeah.
they are like that, then that means that, oh, Sora definitely sees him how he's being intended. We've seen this concept in 358 Days. So that's
Hmm.
why I honestly believe that Sora only assumes that, like, oh, I don't look like this. And then that's why Sora's like, wait, what? Are you sure? Like, I'm seeing you. You're right here. Like, this is what you look like.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because obviously Sora only recognized him because of Virum Rex, from
Mm-hmm.
Toy Box. And it's like, and then he's like, "How do you know my name, bro?" Like you gotta
Right.
like um but I kind of like how people are like, "Wait, did Tetsuya Nomura like is kind of like putting the um Final Fantasy versus 13 thing on this?" That's
Yeah.
what
The
people
Mora's Revenge
because I know fifth that was FF15 was originally supposed to be
was me versus 13. Yep.
versus 13 and then now it's like okay since that didn't happen we're gonna incorporate it in Kingdom Hearts and then people are like I think people are like oh my gosh he looks very similar to Noctis. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I'm like I don't blame you people I don't blame you. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, Dark Suji is just asking great questions. They
Mm-hmm.
literally said, "What's your favorite random battle OST? You know, I guess when you encounter enemies and what's your favorite boss battle theme. If you were in a video game, I hope I understood that right.
Mhm. Uh, Honestly, like when it comes to like there's so many. Like that's such a like when I get questions like this, I'm like, oh, what's your favorite theme from that or this or that? It's hard to answer because like I play so many video games and there's so many like really good boss like battle encounters. Because I can obviously say Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 7 Remake. I could say
Hmm.
Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. That battle theme is
Hmm.
like amazing. Yoko Shimomura made those.
Hmm.
Busting Up on the Beach that you only hear Destiny Islands and Kingdom Hearts 1. I could say Edge of Existence, the Scarlet Column
Oh,
battle theme, which
oh,
is super good.
yes.
What else? I could also say certain themes from Warriors games, Hobble Warriors games, and all that stuff. It's hard. I can't really like pinpoint. I can make a list, but I can't really pinpoint like a favorite. And then when it comes to boss themes, there are so many. There's like
Hmm.
there in recent games, Colgera from Tears of the Kingdom. There's La Scritta del Ignoto, Zemnis's battle theme from Dream Job Distance and Kingdom Hearts 3. uh what else? There's a ton of Pokemon ones. There are tons of
Yes.
ones. There's like the final boss battle theme from Transformers Devastation is really, really, really good. And obviously, and then of course, when it comes to encounter battle themes, like Devil May Cry has so many good ones, right? Bury the Light, Devils Never Cry, um, and Shall Never Surrender. There's so many. So it's really hard to answer that question. I mean,
Yeah.
I was able to name a few. So
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
like there's a lot of great battle themes. I know
Mm-hmm.
for me in Kingdom Hearts, I love the Wave of Darkness. Like it's so fitting in three.
It's
You
so
know,
good.
because like you're seeing so many heartless around you, and I'm like, oh, this is such a great battle theme. It's one of my
Mm-hmm.
favorites. Um, I think I'm trying to remember. I think I think one of my I guess one of my favorite boss ones I think was in three, and then I think you have like in the base game you have like Roxas and Shion, fighting alongside you, and then you just hear like the other promise like
Oh
rendition.
yeah, yeah.
It's
Heart.
so good.
The theme Hearts is one. They were wrong for that. That song went too hard. It went too hard. I'm like, how much of the focus on the fight where this absolute masterpiece is blasting in my ears? That's
Like
that's actually one of my favorites from Kingdom Hearts. Hearts is one that was really really good.
Yes,
Uh,
because you can hear the other promise, like you can hear like Shion's theme a bit in it. Like it kind of
mm-hmm.
like it like meshes so well, and
Yep.
I was like, oh, it's like my heart, and I'm like, I gotta focus on the fight though.
Yep.
Hear and it's so good. And then I always listen to it, and I'm just like, this is so beautiful. It's like
Yep.
it's so beautiful without you having to fight, but it's like it's so beautiful. It's one of my favorite like boss team because I think you face against Syx or Isa, whichever
Mm-hmm.
name you want to go with. But I think, it really solidified because, right after you defeat him, I kind of like how him and Lee just have like this moment together and then and then he's like you let them do this. It's like you
Yeah,
deserve
you let them
this.
reduce you to this.
Yeah, and he said I was jealous of you. It's like you actually said it. It's like you won't get it out of me a second time.
Like, no, you won't. You better commit that to memory. I ain't gonna say it again.
Yeah. So like that song was just beautifully like Yoko Shimomura, she's one of my favorite like composers of all time. Like she always hits it out of the park. Like it's so crazy that every Dearly Beloved just keeps getting better and better.
Oh yeah.
Like it's just like wow, it's like in the first one it was just very simple, and then when in other other Kingdom Hearts games she like adds more emphasis and adds like some melancholy because Birth by Sleep was very melancholy. Like I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is very beautiful. And then I think 358 over 2, I think it was like I forgot what instrument they used for that one. It kind of sounded like what do you call it? Well, was it a flute or it kind of sound
Yeah, it was definitely a woodwind instrument.
yeah,
But
woodwind. So that's why I'm like that's why I think when I heard Missing Link was just like an epic version. It kind of sounds like an anthem, and people pointed that out. It's like, why does it sound like an anthem? It sounds amazing. Um, but but yeah, I think, there's just too many to choose from, in terms of that. Oh, okay. This I gotta ask because I know I've seen this video that you talked about the theme songs of Kingdom Hearts, and you kind of explained the meanings, about them. So I'm very curious to know which of those is like your favorite theme song.
uh it's hard because I want to say like because when you think about the meanings of like the next clash because I have two in mind. So absolutely I have two in mind in terms of the meanings, but also like the germination connection that the other song has in terms of all aspects of Kingdom Hearts lore and so many other music tracks. I actually might have to give it to that one. But my number two would be La Oscurita del Ignoto, which is the Darkness of the Unknown, Xemnas' boss theme from Dream Drop Distance, and Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind, which is actually a remix of Darkness of the Unknown, which was from Kingdom Hearts 2, right? But I like the other version better. It's more impactful and the strings are way crazier. And it's like the meaning of that, so I say it's very high octane, impactful, very fast paced, but it's also extremely tragic when you listen to the songs. It's like I feel like the song itself is like a very big, way to like basically personify the concept of a nobody in music form.
Hmm.
And that's why I would put that number two, right? But then my number one would have to be Another Side, Another Story battle version, because that one it uses like that one is also a very tragic theme in my opinion, but it's a very like angry, like it's tragedy and anger mixed into it when it comes to what Roxas was going through at the end of 358 Days, and then also what was like basically hinted at because we've heard a variation of this track since Kingdom Hearts 1, specifically Final Mix, right? And then when we get
Hmm.
the context to what this track attributes to when it comes to Roxas' own character, his own journey, and where he's at during that point in time, fate going down, The World Never Was, and then Memory Skyscraper. I felt that was like a very like beautiful piece. And then the motif in that song, there's a motif in that song called Deep Dive, right? And
Hmm.
Deep Dive exists in so many other Kingdom Hearts songs and cutscenes and music things. It's almost everywhere, right?
Hmm.
And I feel that because of that, because that song, because obviously I just said it's like in a lot of other songs, but I feel like that song like utilizes it to the best degree, to the most degree, and especially since that variation of the song existed, a variation of that specific song existed since Kingdom Hearts 1. I feel like it belongs to Another Side, Another Story battle version. And that is just something that I feel like is a piece of music that connects the entire Kingdom Hearts series, and that's why I put it at number one.
Ooh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to end this Q&A on this final question. I'm very curious to know which Kingdom Hearts game is like your favorite.
Oh, that's easy. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I gotta think about that." It's like, nah, for me, it's easy. And then I've gotten some flack for this when I say it like this. But I mean, if other people can say this game like that, then I feel that doesn't, negate what I said. So personally, for me, my favorite Kingdom Hearts game is Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind. The entire package of
Ooh.
Kingdom Hearts 3 with Remind included all that as one singular experience. That's my favorite Kingdom Hearts game. Because a lot of people like to say Kingdom Hearts 2 as their final as the most favorite game. But then I'm like, do you mean Kingdom Hearts 2 vanilla or Final Mix? And if you say Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, that's very valid. You know, that is like the prime version of Kingdom Hearts 2, right? In my opinion, Kingdom Hearts 2 had some issues, but Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix is that is Nirvana in a bottle, right?
Yeah.
And if people can say like, oh, my favorite game is Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, then I should be allowed to say my favorite game is Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind, right? Because Kingdom
Yeah.
Hearts 2 Final Mix it's an insanely close second, but for me, it's Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind. That's my favorite Kingdom Hearts game. Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously, at
Mhm.
least Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind, they actually explain, what was going on.
Mhm.
Because like there were in the base game, it's kind of like when you're in the Keyblade graveyard, kind of like, what's going on here? Like it's
Mhm.
kind of like you kind of have to piece it together, but then Remind kind of like fixes that and actually like shows you what was going on you know so at least with that you get more context of what was going on and then you're like, oh, there was like future Sora was helping his past self and and the other guardians you know
Right.
because you're like at first you didn't really understand, wait, how did Roxas, and then you actually find out future Sora was talking to Roxas. It's like, wait for my signal, what signal
Yep.
are you talking about, bro? Like I did not understand that scene, to be honest.
Mhm.
Like even though Sora and Roxas were like talking to each other in their hearts, he's like, just wait for my signal. I'm like, what signal, dude? Like, what are you
He
talking
was
about?
doing something, but yeah, it's just like that. All that added context, all the extra content, and of course the aspect of critical mode. Oblivion Oathkeeper being added to the game, and then playable Roxas was so much fun. Obviously, like we have playable Roxas, playable Aqua, playable Kyrie. Um,
Mhm.
was really really good, and and playable Riku as well. I mean, Riku and Aqua were always playable in the base game, but then adding Roxas and Kyrie was like an added bonus, and that was all on top of Kingdom Hearts 3, which I already loved. Right,
Mhm.
a lot of people like to say, and I personally disagree. Where like, oh, Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind fixed a lot of things with Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm like, I don't know, I want to say the word fixed, but it did add a lot of aspects that I felt were missing,
Mhm.
uh but then made the total package, and I was really geared for a Remind, because I mean, like, we've dealt with Kingdom Hearts 1 2 Birth by Sleep final mixes before, so I'm like, and a lot of people thought we were going to get final mix, but for all intents and purposes, Remind is like basically the stand-in for final mix in terms of like what it offers and whatnot. Yeah, sure, it offers that kind of content at a very like odd place, but it's still like regardless. So yeah, that's me. That's Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, like I think it's also at that one part in the DLC where it's like all the other Guardians of Light are like surrounded, and it's like, wait a minute, you get to switch between them, and then it's like I think that was also very epic. Like the devs were like, oh, you want to play other characters? We released this DLC where you can play other
Mhm.
characters, and I kind of like
Crazy.
how the others were like working together. And I kind of like how Riku and Terra had like that like combination attack.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, let's go. It was like Terra just be all defending Riku. And that was
Ugh.
and that was really, really good. And I kind of like how Lee or Axel, whichever, like he's kind of like, hey, it's not bad for the on the fly team. And Aqua's like, focus,
It's like
fight.
they just talk. They don't talk. Just fight. It's like, oh, you didn't have to say it like that. It's like, hey, I mean, come on. Like,
I
you're in a
I mean,
battle. So.
yeah, I'm kind of like, dude, it's like it's not really the best time to be making remarks because you're
True.
like surrounded by the
Hmm.
clones. Like, to be honest, because that part was super amazing. I was just not
Oh yeah.
expecting that. Like, but I kind of find it cool that like Aqua, Mickey, and Shion are the ones like providing the shield while the others are like fighting. They're like
Right. Because
fighting the
like they're
clones.
the more magically attuned ones, I guess.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then they're like, and then you can like, if you time it correctly, you can like stop the clones from attacking the others. And you're like,
Oh
ah,
yeah.
it's so good. And then I think what was also intriguing is that you see like Sora's like, I got all the pieces, let's go restore Kyrie. And then Sora just connects everyone and then they all like restore Kyrie's like I guess crystallized heart,
Yep.
I guess, and then um and I love Kyrie's gameplay in
Oh,
Remind.
it's really good.
I
It's
was
so
just
good.
I was just like, whoa. When I saw this, I'm like, girl, you be holding back.
Right?
I was like, when did you start showing these moves? I was like,
I'm here waiting for that Kyrie game. Like just lift that gameplay from there and give me that Kyrie game.
yes, like because I want to see how she gets stronger with Aqua, because obviously in Melody and Memory, she's like, actually, I want to train under
I'm
her,
gonna train with Aqua, yeah.
which is actually perfect because they're both magically attuned, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because Kyrie, you could tell she's more of a magic user, so that makes a lot of sense why she wants to, train under Aqua,
Oh yeah.
and I want to see how much stronger she gets, because like obviously, in Melody and Memory, she wanted to go with Riku, and then Riku's like, Kyrie, I can't let you come
It's
with
like
me.
like I don't know, maybe
Because the
and
thing
then like
is,
oh Riku out here talking that smack where like Kai's gameplay was actually like better than Riku's in Kingdom Hearts 3, but like nobody wants to say that.
and I think it's just obviously I think maybe they wanted Kyrie to be like because it's very important to be a Keyblade master, I guess, because if you're a Keyblade master, you have all the essential skills,
Right.
and they're trying to do it by tradition, which is very ironic because literally, Riku and Sora were like self-taught.
Mm-hmm.
And then meanwhile, Kyrie gets like the actual formal treatment,
Actual
and
training, yeah.
yeah, she gets the actual training. So I guess that's why they're like, no, we gotta train her. She can't self-teach herself. We'll just do the formal training.
I'm like, why not? Like she seems to be
Yeah,
doing fine.
yeah.
Mm.
So it's like it's because I think it was probably with Riku and Sora, it was like circumstantial,
Yeah.
So, obviously Yen Sid wasn't in the first game, you know.
Hmm.
So he couldn't really be there to actually train them. And obviously, it was circumstantial because they got like their world was consumed by darkness. Like I
Hmm.
was like, that's dark, you know.
Yeah.
Like you see Riku's like just embracing the darkness, like come with me, right? He's holding out his hand, and Sora's trying
Mhm.
to reach out to him. And then with Kyrie, she just like disappears, when he tries to
And
like,
gone.
yeah. So it's like, it was pretty circumstantial that Sora and Riku had to like self-teach themselves, obviously.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of like for them, it was more
Yeah, for them it
circum.
was like it was pretty much sink or swim. So
Yeah. So when you think about it, it's in that sense, it was like that, And I think, I felt really bad for Sora in three because like everyone kept reminding Sora, you need the power of waking. And Sora's like, like they can't.
hey, he got it back though. He's like,
Yeah.
I don't think that Sora needs to be a Keyblade master because like he's like running circles around people that are masters or whatnot. He's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Uh,
So it's funny, right? Because it's like Yen Sid is like, I will not call you a master until you have the power of waking. And it's
mhm.
like, because I've seen this like Kingdom Hearts 3 in a nutshell. I don't know if you've seen that video, HMK. And then like they're like 2 worlds later, let's go to the realm of darkness. And then like they get a call. Riku and Mickey are in danger. And then Dawn's just quack, quack, quack. It's like we gotta go help them. And Sora's like, dude, seriously? Like this where it
Jeez.
stayed the whole time. So it's like I think, with what they did, so far for Kingdom Hearts, like I'm super excited to see where it goes because I want to see how important, Yuzora is. And I don't know those other two guys that was with Yuzora, they're probably important too. We
Oh
just
yeah,
don't.
his subordinates. Yeah, Magen, Aegis, absolutely.
Yeah, because like because every character has a role to play, like it's very opposite of Sonic. They
Mhm.
only focus on Sonic, and then sometimes they'll focus on Tails, Amy, and Knuckles, and Shadow and Eggman for that most part. But Kingdom Hearts, it's like every character is important in some way in the
Oh,
story.
absolutely.
Because even like Nominee, she played a vital role in three, even though she wasn't on the front lines fighting, but
Yep.
she actually was able to connect with the lingering will of all things. I'm like, how was she able to do that? But hey, she did something.
Oh yeah, that came in clutch. If she didn't do that, then we'd be in a lot of trouble. But she pulled her weight.
Yeah. So, but unfortunately, I will have to end this Q&A. It was a lot of fun to do this Q&A with you, HMK.
I had a blast. It was a lot of fun for me too. Thank you.
Yeah, and of course I want to thank you, audience, for like tuning in. It was a lot of fun. Like your guys' questions were quite intriguing. And of course, I'm so sorry for the tech difficulty
Mhm.
earlier, but we got through it. But I do have a full version that I'll probably put like the full like recorded version too, so without any interruption of looking at two different live streams. But I'll be posting that soon. So um and of course, I'm going to be announcing my upcoming live streams actually this Wednesday. Is another Goddess Spotlight with Liaserenityrose, episode 55, and I will be doing a Q&A with Tabitha Fair. If you guys know, she actually sang or sung for Sonic Adventure 2. She actually sang Fly into Freedom. So I'm going to be doing a Q&A with her on this Wednesday, February 18th at 5 p.m. PT, 8 p.m. ET. And of course, I have also unveiled more of my Serenity Spring Festival panels. So I have revealed artist showcase with Profit, and then content creator showcase with Callie Mackin, and of course Festival of Ages with GK. So there's going to be more panel announcements coming soon. And on March 13th at 12 p.m. PT, 3 p.m. ET is the next episode of the Lucky Charm podcast, episode 16, which G and I, aka the Cartoon Hotspot, we will be ranking the season premieres of each season of Miraculous Ladybug from seasons 1 to 6. So I also have an upcoming Q&A. It's like in the 70% confirmed right now. I'm not gonna
Mhm.
say who it is as of yet, but do you have any final words, HMK, to your audience tuning in?
I'm glad y'all tuned in. I'm glad to have been here on this stream. It was lots of fun. It was great talking about all these aspects. And once again, thanks for having me.
Yeah, like I wanted to branch out of outside of Sonic because if you see most of
Mhm.
my previous guests, they were like Sonic. Um but but yeah, if you guys want to tune in to I am going to be posting the actual recorded version where there's no interruption because I had a tech difficulty earlier. But I am going to be posting the actual recording of this interview so that way you guys can just watch it uninterrupted. Just as a treat for you guys. Um, but yeah, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on that bell notification for upcoming live streams and video content. And you can be sure that I will be doing a review of the next episode of the Sonic Presents the Chaotix Case Files. I've been doing Leah reviews. So I have done episode 0, episode 1, episode 2, and episode 3 reviews on my YouTube channel. So be sure to tune in if you want to look at those videos. But yeah, that's going to be coming up soon because it's going to air tomorrow. And of course, may you all have a wonderful rest of your day or night, time zones, right? This this is Leah signing off. Bye, everyone.